step forward.
Hello, everyone. I'm your co-host, C. Diesel. I'm here with King of the Comics, Professor E, Ethan Murphy, Lelouch V, Stink Meter East, Dani. And you're listening to...
Hi.
We here. How y'all doing, brothers and sister?
Good. I'm great. Excited to be here.
Welcome back, Dani. It's been a minute. When was the last time we saw Dani? I know Charlie's seen dinner more recently.
It had to be. I think it was the
years.
The Tom Devlin interview. I think it was the last thing she did on the channel.
That was a minute ago too.
Yeah, like it may have been. It's definitely over a year at this point.
Over a year. That's too long. Way too long.
Sorry.
We had to get that.
Well, Otis, your mic's muted.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying, I don't think I've ever been on a stream with Dani. I know I've made some flyers for Dani's Dungeon, but I don't think I've ever.
Yes. So I'm excited to stream with you today.
Right. I mean, I was excited until I get called out my name for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like I just showed up here.
No reason?
Literally none whatsoever, actually. Like
guys, everybody, we are here for a special occasion. It is October, and as you guys know, we've been trying to go hard with the October content. And that's not gonna stop here. Halloween is what, Sunday, I think?
No.
Oh,
wait, it's tomorrow. I think it's like Tuesday.
Soon.
Yeah, I want to say it's Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Well, fuck it. Tuesday, tomorrow, today, it doesn't matter because we're doing horror movie rankings. That's been something we've enjoyed doing on the show thus far, so we're going to continue this stuff and do horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We haven't been live in a minute. We ain't been live in a minute. It's been scheduling issues here and there, but we're here now. We're here for a live. We are doing horror movie reaction, horror movie rankings. We have 16 of some of the most controversial, epic, historical, legendary, all the adjectives horror movies here, ranging from one made from the 60s up until now. I think. Well, not 60s, the 80s till now. Because 70s. Halloween was in the 70s, right?
70s.
Yeah.
Halloween. Well, Exorcist is 70s.
I was going to say The Exorcist was too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 74 or something.
For those that don't know, Dani is actually a resident like horror expert. Like she literally makes horror movies, so that's why she's here too.
Yeah, Dani, tell the audience who you are and why we brought you here. For people that
I would say I'm more of a retired makeup artist at this point. That sounds weird at my age, but I kind of cut my teeth with Tom Devlin and his crew at 1313 Effects in Las Vegas. We did a lot of work with full moon features. So they did Puppet Masters, if you're familiar with those horror movies. And then I also did some work also through 1313 Effects, but under Steve Johnson and Nick Benson on a Slipknot video, Nero Forte, as well as their short film Pollution. So that's probably like my top thing that I've ever done. That was a blast, and I miss it. I don't do it anymore, but I miss it terribly, and I still love horror movies, and I can still see all the edges.
Resume, people. She's got a resume. We only bring qualified people in this podcast.
Yeah.
But
thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course, you're part of the team, part of the family. We still have the image of you as the Phoenix, and Dark Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. We still got that art.
I still look at that sometimes, and I'm like, he really let me do that. I still look at that. I love that so much. I need to get it like printed and framed.
Right on.
Same here. I'm gonna put that on a poster when I go to the new place. But yeah, guys, you guys have any like starting words before we jump right into it? No,
I have notes, so you better be prepared because.
Say less. I'm gonna try to flex the expertise. Let's start with one of the big ones. We'll start with The Exorcist here on the far left. The very first one, the one that the cursed film, essentially, the one that had all the deaths and injuries and other curses oriented with it, affiliated with it. I guess we could start with top down for this one. We'll go Ethan down as far as where you would put this. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I personally would put that S tier here because of what it did. Like it pretty much. Correct me if I'm wrong, Otis and Danny. Didn't it like get at least nominated for Best Picture? I think it either nominated or won Best Picture.
I actually don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I just know that it scared the shit out of me.
Well, but that's the main point. Is that it scared people so much? It was one of the first times that a movie was reported where people like in the theater like were passing out, were fainting. They had to give literally issue warnings at the theater about the movie. Churches were basically protesting the film and everything. When you have that much of an impact with a movie, it's gotta rank. It's gotta rank S tier. That's the very definition. It's kind of everything's the bar everything's been compared to against since. So yeah, it's gotta be S tier in my opinion.
Okay. For me, I have to agree as far as putting it S tier. For me, this is a film that has haunted people throughout generations. I know I saw it significantly later than 1973. So for me to watch this, I think I watched it when I was 12, so like 2012. I saw this film, and for it to from being made in 73 and still scare me to shitless in 2012 after me seeing other films with maybe like updated practical effects or having pros and cons of past films, I think that shows the staying power it has and the quality of it. Mm-hmm. So I'd put it as tier as well.
Yeah, that absolutely S tier. I mean, that's not really a question. That movie, I watched it way too early with my dad at 5. And it still scares me the same level it did today that it did then. So yeah, I mean, it's the bar. It's the bar to me for horror movies, especially for Exorcist type movies specifically. Yeah. You know, dealing with possessions. It's the bar.
And you said your dad does love you, right? He does love you. Okay,
positive. Because that's crazy.
That's a lot of evidence. A lot of evidence on the contrary.
He was talking too much shit that day, and he's like, "I got some."
So I got something for you, boy. All right, come here, 5-year-old son.
I'm crying. No, I 100% agree with everything you're saying. It is absolutely the standard to which every horror movie is held to. So it's definitely S tier for me. But I want to tell you why. I have a lot of theories as to why this is top tier. Okay. And it's because first of all, there were real terrors. There were real deaths linked to this. There were real things that were unexplainable that absolutely terrified people. Linda Blair won't even speak about The Exorcist in her interviews. I don't know why, but that's very telling to me that like she doesn't want to talk about that. But there's real moments of people like in pain. So they've captured people like actually almost being tortured on camera. Mm-hmm. So that's why we're getting those same reactions where it's like, it feels like this is actually happening, because sometimes it is. I also know Linda Blair has a permanent back injury from one of the devices they used on her. I forget what the other woman's name is, but she's the mother. She also has some type of injury from them throwing something across the room and it like hitting her. So they've captured real fear and real terror in some of these shots, and you can feel it. And you're right. It is the ultimate thing. Anything with possessions, this specifically is the ultimate evil. That's what they call it in this thing. And that's what this truly is. You've captured that.
Yeah. Because it was, go ahead. I'm sorry, Charlie.
No, I was going to say, like, to add to the fun facts, I know that the actual director to help in trying to capture real fear on screen, he would like shoot shotguns, like blank shotgun shells off at like random moments during shoots to like scare people to the point where the studio had to come in and be like, "Hey, bro, let's take that away."
You're torturing. You're genuinely torturing people. Yeah. This is emotional abuse. He was like emotionally abusing them throughout the process to like truly capture.
The director is he's a really sick dude, because there's some possible offender stuff there that may or may not have been down with Linda Blair that I don't. Yeah,
so much darkness, so much like there's so much real darkness surrounding that film that I think that's what adds that extra layer of sickness and terror to the movie that just makes you feel sick when you watch it. I feel sick when I watch that movie. I think I've only ever watched it 3 times in my life, and I avoid at all costs to watch the movie. I hate that movie so bad. It scares me so bad.
The movie it's almost too authentic. We got to bring this back up here. Our boy said they were using real relics and people were really getting hurt. We talked about it at other studios where they start. I quit and get other jobs. That's how powerful this goddamn movie is. My friend, you are 100% right. Real quick,
Absolutely.
also, I mentioned before the idea of the awards and everything. So it said that it actually was nominated. It got nominated for 10 awards, including Best Picture. And it actually did win 2 awards, one for Best Adapted Screenplay. I forgot it's a book, actually, and also Best Sound. So the sound, I forgot how, because it's William Friedkin, the director is William Friedkin, but how innovative. We all think about like the idea of Linda Blair, who was 9 or 10, Dani? She was like really small.
I'm not sure how old she was. I don't know how old she was in this.
Because I think part of it is too, she's prepubescent or something like that. But she the voice that the actual voice acting, the dubbing and everything they did was so spot on. You think, oh yeah, that's not her voice talking there. Like that's actually like the sound effects, all the things they did. It got that Foley, the Foley they used, they call it Foley, was groundbreaking at the time too. So got an award for that.
Speaking of awards, I don't know that there was an award yet for makeup artistry, but Dick Smith should have won one. There should have been some legacy award for that, because so many people don't know that the elderly priest in this is not elderly, and that is an old age makeup. It is the most beautiful old age makeup I've ever seen on screen, hands down. Yeah. Like nothing has ever touched that ever since Dick Smith. Because it has and will continue to be like the best that has ever lived. Like he's the grandfather of special effects, and he will continue to have that.
Because it's not just special effects as far as over the top monsters, but actually being believable. Because Max von Sydow in this movie, I believe, is like 30.
He's so young. When he walked the red carpet, everyone's like, "Where's the priest?" He's like, "That's
Where's
me."
The priest?
You're like, no.
Yeah.
It says Dick Smith won Best Makeup in 75.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Because I believe Max von Sydow, the old guy, portraying the old guy, was actually younger than his partner. Yeah, he's actually younger than the guy, his partner. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of funny.
Like all their awards for the film all came in like in 75, like 2 years after. And they're
like, that makes sense. I knew it didn't come like right when it came out. I knew that there was some type of lag between there.
So let's go ahead and move it where it belongs.
Yes,
absolutely,
for sure.
Second up is a podcast favorite, a film that we reference and discuss thoroughly on here whenever we bring up anything horror related. You're gonna hear us mention this film at some point. That being Sinister. I guess we can go bottom top this time. We'll start with Dani.
I remember seeing this in the theater, and I would love you guys' context. I don't remember the plot very much, but I remember being slightly disappointed at the end, and like kind of wanting more. But I need some more context. I need some more context from you guys, because it's been a very, very long time since I've seen it. So please enlighten me.
Because you're also young too. So if you saw it in the theaters, you probably saw when you were maybe a teenager.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a teenager when I saw it, so it's been a very long time since I've seen that movie.
Right.
I remember it scared me. I remember it left me uncomfortable. I remember there being like film reels being involved, and then seeing like some entity like peeking in and out of those things. But is the ending like him grabbing a little child and just like walking off into like I
think into the film actually.
Yes.
Okay, into the film.
No, wait. So no, that's
the daughter kills her family, and then he like walks off with her.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what that didn't do it for me. I don't know why it didn't do it for me.
So
but I remember feeling as though it didn't do it for me. But that's my feelings from a long, long time ago. So
that's fair.
Again,
that's fair.
Please enlighten me.
Okay,
Mr. Meaner.
I'm honestly on the fence, because a part of me wants to put it A tier for the initial reaction that I had when I saw it in theaters myself. I was in college at the time, and I went with a group of friends. It was like 9 or 10 of us, and that night after we left, we didn't want to like leave. We just like ended up just crashing in my friend's living room, and we just like did not want to like go away. We slept with the light, like with a light on in the hallway.
I love that so much.
Man, that lawnmower scene,
I know
it still bothers me a little bit. Just
refresh me on the lawnmower scene. Is there like refresh me, please.
So there's a scene when they're going back and watching the film where it just looks like a kid is just like mowing the lawn, and then
at night.
He's mowing the lawn at night, which is already like kind of like, all right, what's he doing? And it just you just see the grass, and you see the grass, you see a person's face, and it just keeps going, and it's like, oh, okay, like, all
my
right.
gosh, okay, it's coming back to me now. There's all this like weird found footage. There's like a burning car. There's yes, it's coming back. Okay.
Yeah, but part of it too. Part of it is too, Danny. I think Otis mentioned this, but it's like the idea that, like you said, it's found footage. During these reels that you see, you don't hear anything. It's like it's just actual like the sound of the reel being played. And for some reason, that ambiance of like it's just silent. Watching a silent movie that's very disturbing makes it that much worse.
I think that's so important, though. I think just like taking away one of your senses with movies, like there's only so much that they can keep from you. So when they take one of your senses from you, it is debilitating. And I love that in a horror movie. I think that's so important.
Yes, because your imagination always fills in the blanks to make it that much worse. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm sorry to cut you off, Charlie. I know skipping your turn, but there's a show on now. I'm sorry, my bad. Oh, you would drink. Oh. There's a show on TV now called The Fall of the House of Usher. I mentioned it to Charlie earlier. Have you seen it yet, Danny? The Fall of the House of Usher?
No.
I still need to watch that too.
Long story short, I loved it, but long story short, it's kind of like an anthology of like Edgar Allan Poe in a way with the framework set it up and everything. But there's a part it's the first episode. It's not too much of a spoiler, but there's a part where a guy says like, he's like, so where's your mother now? Because his mother's dead. He goes, she's right behind you. He goes, I'm not falling for that bullshit. Yada yada yada. And he goes, okay. And the way the camera's set up is we can just barely see over the shoulder of this dude that says, I'm not falling for that. And you see the body of like just from the chin down. It's the body of it's a dead body, and she just turns around and walks away. It's like and I by myself in my apartment at 1:00 last night. I said, Jesus Christ, because it was so like just casual. It wasn't a whole bunch there was no jump scare as far as like music or craziness. It was just the idea of there is terror just here, casually lingering around.
Yes,
that's what Sinister is. Sinister is all that. Sinister is nothing but casual, lingering terror all the time. They're not. It's not being gaudy or loud. It's just chilling.
I love that.
So that's why I love that movie so much.
But
that was a great explanation.
Yeah, I agree because I mean, again, remember that feeling that I had when I first saw it? It was eerie, man. Like it was so far away from what I was used to at the time with just like the heavily jump scary movies and just having, Bagul just casually just looking around or just popping up in a tree or in the forest. He was a villain done right in the first movie. We're not gonna talk about the second one. We were never that didn't happen. But I will say, like, going back and watching it, it doesn't have the same type of fear to it, just because I know what the unknown is now. Mm-hmm. So, like, for longevity, like, I don't know if I can give it the A that I really want to.
That's an important part, I think.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna give it a B. But I really do enjoy that movie. I think it's a well done movie, and it kind of does a good job subverting your expectations because in a situation like that, you think, oh, you get out the house, you win, and lo and behold, he was just waiting. It's like, yeah, go to your next house, go ahead, bro. We gonna have a good time over there, and then the next family gonna have a good time when they move in eventually too.
Jesus Christ. For me, just to kind of add to the dialogue here, I think they do a good job. One thing I want to highlight is the minimalism when it comes to sound. Kind of like what Ethan said, as far as they're not being over excessive atmospheric music or jump scares. The thing that they do really well that I always want to do when it comes to horror is to make you fear a sound, whether that is like a theme song, like from Michael Myers or even the whispering from Jason. But this one is the film reel. So whenever you hear that, your body immediately and your mind immediately is like at a point of tension where you're ready for something to happen. So the fact that you can make a sound or an action or an object a trigger of fear shows just how well you established the atmosphere of that film. And in that scene or whatever scene it may be. That's something I really appreciate there. And I kind of like what you guys said, that was something consistent throughout the film itself and not just like in ramped up parts. Right. But for me, I'd probably give it an A. I'd give it an A. I think that it, like, kind of to Otis's point, I don't think there's too many horror movies to where once you see it once and you understand how everything works, or you know when the jump scare is going to happen, that you fear it the same way. Because there's that, even with any film, once you get that first glow of like the first watch out the way, you're going to have like a lower like view of it after that, because you're analyzing shit a lot more now. You're not just at the whim of, oh, what's going to happen here. I'm watching this thing play out versus I know what's going to happen. I'm kind of just rewatching it. So I give it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So one thing I will say about that, because I see the merit in everything y'all are saying. As far as rewatchability on movies, when it comes to horror, sometimes it is like Dani mentioned before with Exorcist, it's appreciating the craft that went involved as far as making the movie. So even if it's not scaring you the same way as it did before, you can appreciate the actual craft and talent they put into it. One thing that I hate the most, I preach on it over and over again here, is like setups and payoffs. You can appreciate setups a lot more when you watch a movie the second or third time. And this movie does setups and payoffs really, really well. I've only seen it twice. I've only seen it twice, but it does setups really, really well. It's from the jump, because spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, the killer is actually children. And the way it's set up is you don't know what's either that the children are going missing, or the children, something's happened to the kids, and it turns out the kids are always one that's killing people. Essentially, the boogeyman, as opposed to taking kids, somehow he corrupts them, and the kids end up killing their families. So you actually see that there's a little more, you appreciate that upon further viewings. So that's why I still give this movie an S tier. Plus, I still this movie, everyone knows I'm old as dirt. When the Big Bang happened, I said, no, turn off all that noise. And I saw this movie, I was like in my 20s or so with some friends. And when I went home, but I didn't go to my apartment because I was scared. I'll be honest. I didn't go to my apartment because I was afraid. I went to my dad and mom's house because I said, let me just chill y'all for a little while. They said, okay. They didn't know why. And then I eventually broke down and told my dad, yeah, I went to this movie and scared the shit out of me. And he laughed in my face. And still to this day, he gives me a hard time about this. If a movie makes a grown-ass man in his 20s go to his parents' house to sleep, it's got to be S tier. It's got to be S tier.
That's fair.
So yeah, let's go ahead, and I think, because Dani, what did you say? I don't know if you gave it an exact rating.
I'm gonna go with A. I like the things that you all have told me about it, and I feel like I need to give it another watch and give it another try, and not trust my younger self on this one.
So I'm going
A
to,
seems like a fair, all the rankings.
Yeah,
A seems like
medium. Now we are looking at a very drawn out franchise, being The Conjuring, but this is in reference to the first Conjuring, the thing that started it all. Yeah. Conjuring 1. I guess we'll start with Otis this time. We'll start in the middle, and we can just knock out me and him, and then we'll go Dani, Ethan.
Dani, yeah.
Conjuring 1 was cool. I think they added some fun elements to make the ghosts feel more modern. Like, the was it the snaps or the claps that they introduced with the claps with the Conjuring, and just again, it's like you said, like making you associate something that's small with fear. So I mean, that was cool. This one didn't really scare me like that though. Like the ghost felt playful almost, right? Like he was just kind of I don't know. I just didn't get a element of fear from the way that they presented the ghost in this. I'll probably give it a B. It's a B for me.
It seemed non-lethal in a way.
Yeah. Well, that's just. I will say that's due to the fact that it was following the laws of infestation, working its way into possession. So at least the way I remember them explaining it in the film is that when it comes to an infestation, a ghost is haunting the house, and in order to possess somebody, it has to break you down. So it was doing little things like moving certain shit around, scaring the individuals, and terrorizing the family to break down the mom, so that it could then possess the mom. Which makes sense. I mean, canonically, it makes sense as to why it was taking a little bit of longer time, and it made sense, at least script-wise, in which. In why you can have multiple scenes of it kind of just jump scaring things. I think that kind of became a really bad thing when it came to like the first Nun, when it came to them with the over excessive jump scares. That became a bad habit. But this film I thought was cool. I love, the one thing I do love about this franchise, starting with the first one, is the character building of the Warrens. funny for me, at least funny enough, I enjoy them more than I do all the ghosts. Like the ghosts and the spirits are fun and they're great, but I love seeing how like the scenario and the hauntings and the infestations of the possessions affect the Warrens and their relationship and how they kind of progress through that stuff and solving the case. I honestly wouldn't mind like a show if they could have like an anthology show where they're solving different cases on some Scooby-Doo type tip. I would enjoy that more than like waiting forever to get one movie from them. Because I love to see their relationship develop a little bit more. But for me, and this film in particular, the second one, I'd probably give it A, but for this one, I would give it B. I enjoyed the second one a little bit more in the writing of it, but this one felt it could be because I've seen it a couple times up until this point, so I'm looking at it more critically, but I do think I'd probably put it around a B from my level of enjoyment and the fact that I've watched it at least like 3 times and enjoyed myself each time watching it with new people.
Well, fair. Dani?
So I'm definitely giving this an A, and the reason I'm giving this an A, and I want to speak to something Charlie said. You said you loved the Ed and Lorraine Warren part of it. You loved that part of it because they were real people.
Yeah.
Okay. I went to high school. This is very weird that I'm saying this on like a live podcast. I went to high school with her great grandchildren.
What?
So like I would be on Facebook and like see this person's like mother just like posting with Lorraine Warren, and that was like her grandmother. And like these stories are like based off of real things. So like regardless of how you feel about the movie, that shit is scary. And Ed and Lorraine Warren were real people that helped a lot of people. So this is definitely getting an A for me, just because I literally kind of knew a connection to that.
Yeah.
In a very weird way. Yeah. So it gets an A for me, just because these are tethered to like real events.
So you never went to the museum then?
No.
I would not go there.
I'm really good on like going to haunted museums and stuff. Like when I was younger, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so there was plenty of haunted things for us to go explore by ourselves that were like abandoned. I scared the shit out of myself plenty doing that. I really don't want to go to a place where like this stuff is like confirmed. This thing's possessed. Like I'm good. I don't want to go anywhere near that.
No,
I believe in that stuff way too much to go like actively put myself in a situation. It's not gonna happen.
Like Lord, I am not gonna go put myself in harm's way.
Oh my God, that is
I have
incredible.
my guardian angels do that. Not doing it.
I think like doesn't the son-in-law like own either he lost possession of it or something. I forgot who owns the actual museum right now where all the artifacts like the Annabelle doll and stuff is located at. But
yeah, I'm not sure, but that's none of my business.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there. But that's what it's wild because we're talking about with The Exorcist, how like having a real movie that has real like curses or real hauntings, and like you said, with the Ed and the Rain having these are real people that died not too long ago. They actually had real families. These are their real stories. Obviously, this is a movie. They hype up certain things, but on some level, these are real things they had to deal with in some capacity for years and years. And for Dani to actually be, oh, by the way, I know someone directly related to them.
How strange is that?
It's like that is trippy as hell. I'll be honest.
The family is so kind. I don't want to like reveal their name because I don't want it to be weird. But like they're very kind, very sweet family, like very nice people.
I mean, their grandparents or these are grandparents, right? It's grandchild.
Great, I believe it was
great child. I mean, they were cool. Ed and the Rain are awesome. And I actually love the movies because of them. Like you said, with Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, they're fantastic. They're still going. They just did the last one not too long ago. So I actually love this movie. I didn't have the benefit of seeing it in the theater with the crowd, but I saw it with a few friends on a large screen TV, and we had a blast with it. It was a lot of fun. Is it scary in the traditional sense? Like, oh my gosh, I'm horrified. Not like that, but again, it's the creep factor. It was similar to the Sixth Sense for me, where it's like I feel kind of this unease, and I have the hairs in the back of my neck. My favorite part in that movie, though, is a part where when we first meet the Warrens and Lorraine's walking all around the house and she walks around to the backyard and everything. And from our perspective watching the movie, it seems like she's just looking at stuff. And then Ed says, "Are you seeing anything?" And then we see her perspective. She's like, "I'm seeing everything right now." And you're seeing dead bodies hanging from a tree. We're seeing it's like, oh, that's what the movie we're actually watching. So I thought it was badass. One thing I also like about the movie, too, is this movie has a 0 body count. No one actually dies. It's a rated R horror movie, but no one dies.
Nice.
So it's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Hey, man. So yeah, I gave it a B. Danny gave it an A. Otis gave it a B. Ethan, where you at?
I give it a solid A. Solid A.
You know what? I'm not mad at
So,
giving it an
yeah, that's okay there. It's fine.
A. I'm not mad at that. Now we can move into one of the classic, well, the second, I guess, Child's Play. So this is the first movie, the initial unveiling of Mr. Charles Lee Ray, the Chucky doll.
Okay.
For me, I'd probably want to put it in the S tier, and that's due to the fact.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Expecting that.
For me, the film wasn't the scariest film, but it was very, very entertaining. I love I can't remember the actor's name that plays Chucky. Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name right now. But he's just so entertaining as the Chucky doll to me, to where it was like horror, but it also felt like a comedy at certain points, especially like as it went on later on. And I was really just watching it for Chucky. Like it was so iconic to the point where people don't really like, at least for Black folks, we don't call it Child's Play, we call it Chucky. Like it was Chucky 1, 2.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's because the doll stood out so much, and he became that big of an icon, and the movies were just that entertaining to me. Especially the one scene where they're in the apartment and he's like, Chucky's chasing, I can't remember the boy's name either. He's chasing him around and he's just like, and he's on some Spider-Man shit. He's just like throwing out quips as he's trying to stab this child. And then pushes his auntie out the window. I'm like, yeah, man, this is golden shit for me. So I'm putting it at the S personally. We can go whatever.
It was funny, man. That's it's if we were ranking this as far as just movies we like that are fun, fair enough. You can give Child's Play a solid S, man. I would. It's for me. I guess I was a little bit too old. I wasn't old, but a little bit too old. Cause I was like, it's a doll. It's a crazy ass doll. But I was entertained also. I was never afraid, but I was like, it's entertaining. And I guess the thing was too is that the Andy, because they chose a small kid to be his victim essentially. Also a kid that wouldn't be believed. The real horror, again, a vast majority of horror movies is when the child isn't believed by the adults. It's in a few other movies we have on the list right now coming up. It happens so often. So that's the real idea. Is like, what would you do if there was an evil doll trying to kill you and no one was there to back you up or help you out? So I did appreciate that about the story. But you're right. Charlie Ray is just like such a such a crazy ass dude, man. He's up there with like Freddy and as far as like characters, Leatherface. So yeah, it's not really scary, but it's definitely entertaining, man. You can't deny that.
Yeah, I think it was one of the, like the first horror movies I can think of that like did that horror balance within, or the comedy balance within it, where it was like comedic horror, I guess, that I can think of.
Yeah, because it was 80s. It was like I think there's no reality in which it didn't influence Freddy, because Freddy when he first came out wasn't popping out with jokes at all. He was just I'm here to kill.
I don't know, bro.
He didn't drop the I'm here bitch really until like later in 2 and 3.
So Freddy.
Yeah, and the first one he's pretty much more just because also in the first one he isn't seen as much either. I just watched it again because of y'all. So it's later on he actually gets
Johnny Depp in it.
Yeah, with that scene is still
such a good one. So iconic. The one with the ceiling from the ceiling
in the bed because he falls asleep.
One of the best.
But I would Chucky. I probably put Chucky number 1 with Andy. I probably put that B tier. Personally, that's just me. But I put it B tier.
Brad Dourif is the actor's name, by the way.
Yeah. That's it.
I love it even more because like down the line with the show when it came out, the woman that's in I think like the 7th movie, and then in the show is his daughter. Like they buy her.
Tilly.
Yeah, no, not Jennifer Tilly. Like his actual daughter is like now playing. She's playing a possessed version. So like Charles Lee Ray character possessed her body, and she's like pretending to be her dad.
That's so funny.
I didn't know about that.
That's so cool. It was dope. But yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said B.
Any or just one of the two.
I'm also gonna give it a B. I think it's also an enjoyable movie. I love Child's Play. I enjoy watching it. Did it scare me? I don't know. I don't think it did, but it is that comedic scary, which I enjoy. I love movies like that are horror movies and people are dying, but it's still like a little bit lighthearted. Again, kind of like that feel good horror movie. Yeah, like a feel-good horror movie. And yeah, it gets a B from me. Solid B.
Yeah, it's a C for me. Chucky Finster never really did it for me. So like,
that's crazy.
because I mean, that's what he looks like. He's dressed like Chucky Finster from the Rugrats. Like, why would I be intimidated by this dude?
Yo, what's that? Is that how he got the? Is that possible? That's how he got the name Chucky in the
I don't know if that's really the case, but that's just always who I've connected him to. And I'm kind of in the opposite boat because I think we talked about this when we talked about the Evil Dead before. Like, I hate comedic horror movies. Like, I feel like you can have like moments of levity in there, like, and like a couple laughs, but when you go to like full comedy, you lost me. Like, I have no immersion into this thing anymore. I'm just like, if you don't stump this plastic dude out and just be done with it, like, what are we doing here? He's got a knife. Oh wow, I got a shotgun. Come on now, like this. Let's just put this down, okay? Let's just handle this. Yeah, it's a C for me. Like, it's iconic. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the horror movie I'm showing to my 5-year-old nieces because, like, no, we can laugh at this together because who is this clown?
Yeah,
that's fair.
This is C.
That's hilarious.
Okay. So I think that probably balanced out around a B, right?
Probably B.
2 B's.
C, 2 B. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put that at a B. Moving on. This is another one. The Black Phone. I swear to God, it's gonna sound like I'm like giving everything high tiers, but this one for me is for sure an S tier for this one. For me, because the terror and the way it was shot and the acting was top notch for me. I think Ethan, did I call you? I feel like I called you after I watched this, right?
You called both of us. Yeah, you definitely called me.
Yeah,
I saw it because of you.
Yeah, I love this film. This is when I want to rewatch. I've only seen it the one time, so again, this is probably the first watch Glaze. So I got to watch it a second time to kind of break down what may or may not have been wrong with it. But this one was this is one of my first films I saw Ethan Hawke in, and maybe it may have been my first one, or there's probably something else I watched I didn't know he was in.
He probably Sinister. He's in
saw
Sinister.
Hulk.
Oh, he was in Hulk. Yeah. Well, Sinister. Yeah, he was in Hulk. I didn't know.
Wait,
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that was he in Sinister? I think he's in Sinister.
Yeah.
No, he said Hulk. I think you said the Hulk.
Yeah, wasn't he? That's Ed Norton, not Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Definitely in Sinister.
They're like the same person. But yeah, definitely in Sinister.
Seeing him put on the acting clinic was crazy. Seeing him put on the acting clinic and this was crazy. And some like the weird like body acting things he would do. Plus, this thing is yoked. I'm sorry, but that cut away, you get him in a chair, sitting there with the belt, the weird shit. He's like at the top of the stairs. He's yoked. I'm like, bro, how old is he?
Yeah, he's old. He's old.
He's just jacked. But for me, this is like a pleasant surprise because I went and saw this on a whim, and I ended up loving it. But yeah, this is another S for me. There's not too many more S's for me on here, so I got
okay.
2 S's back to back. My bad.
She's calling you out. I think I'm gonna go this because Charlie skipped my turn. Charlie skipped me, but that's fine.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't know what order we were still going in.
That's right. We can go. We'll go down. We'll start with Otis then.
Yeah. So I just think that this dropped at a bad time for me because like I've also like I relate Ethan Hawke. I mean, to me seeing him in
Moon Knight.
In Moon Knight, and y'all know how I feel about that.
Well, I think this came out like a month before Moon Knight dropped, didn't it?
Either way it goes, it was just too close, and I still haven't like had the urge to watch this. Like I don't want to still actually. Like I've heard good things about it, but like every time I like go to turn it on, I'm just like, let me do something better with my life.
Oh wow, okay.
So I haven't seen it. Unfortunately,
I hate one for Ethan Hawke. Moon Knight. I don't know where the Moon Knight. Well, I know where the Moon Knight hate came from.
Because it was bad. That's why it came from. Okay, it was bad.
It came from the show itself. Dani, you can go next.
I also have not seen this movie.
I love it.
I'm really sorry, Charlie, but where can I watch this? And
it was on Amazon Prime.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Why did you like it? Other than why it was shot good. Like
okay, so
about it.
I'll go, Charlie. I'll get this one.
Yeah.
So here's something that I know Otis actually would like about this. I think Dani would too, because you actually make movies in the craft. I think the way it's been described to me and online is that it's basically like a Silence of the Lambs meets almost like kind of like a coming of age, like with a Stand By Me or It with kids. I know that sounds weird, but the Silence of the Lamb elements is very bizarrely apt. When you see the movie, it's hard to explain, but it's there. And the thing about it is that's kind of unique. Oftentimes, kids in movies don't seem real. Either they can't act or what they're saying doesn't sound like a real kid.
Right.
Mhm.
This movie does it really, really well, where they actually sound like the kids sound like really like actual kids. The strife of growing up, coming of age is very much on point. Like Charlie said, Ethan Hawke is a weird, bizarre entity. It's y'all know how much I love Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of in a way like channeling some bizarre like eerie, because he's not outright like, I'm gonna hurt you, kill you. He's kind of like this like, I'm here to be your friend, but I'm a creepy as hell weirdo. It's hard to describe.
Okay.
I think Dani, I think you would like it because it is so well. It's very well shot. The cinematography is like almost Roger Deakins. It's bizarrely well made, and it's actually well written and actually performed too. So,
to hear a Silence of the Lamb comparison coming from Ian, you know how Hannibal Lecter, that's my guy. So I'm gonna have to eventually buckle down. It's Halloween month. Might as well go ahead and knock this out this month.
Yeah,
I can do that.
And one thing too, Otis, if you're having beef with Otis, with Ethan Hawke, fair enough. His face is covered up the entire movie.
Yeah. Oh, so that's one thing I want to get into. They sort of like this mask here that they have here. The interesting thing that they do with it subtly is that throughout different phases of the movie, depending on like what his mood is, the mask is in sectionals. So like he'll have the bottom part off and have like the devil horns on, or like he'll have the smile on, or different parts of it will be on his face, and they do it subtly throughout the film. Like interesting. It's
meant to reflect his personality. What he's because I think I'm not sure if he has multiple personality disorder outright, or if he chooses but it's meant to reflect his personality essentially. What he's going through the mask.
It's very similar to It. I think the children actors are like I'd argue the children actors are on par with the It actors, at least the newer.
100%. The brother and sister, they definitely are. Yeah, better than some of them. Actually.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
So I guess me and Ethan can be the ones to rank this one.
If we're just ranking whatever you rank it, I'll probably second that. Def.
Okay, I won't put it S tier. I'll put it A. I'll drop it one. I'll drop it one. I'll try not to give a million S's out, but that's just like again, this is my first watch for this film, so I still have that like the haze of damn, this was really fucking good when I left the theater.
Yeah, I'll let it go to A. I would if I was basing it purely on the writing and acting, I'd go S. But because we'll keep it fair, I'll say my S's for one of the movies on here. Right.
Now we're getting into again another class. We got another class. I think we're like doing every other one down there. The Shining.
Johnny, man.
One of the breakout role,
Shining,
if not the breakout role for Jack Nicholson. How did y'all feel about this? Well, we can start with Dani.
So Dani.
This movie scared me so bad when I was younger. This was probably like one of the first horror movies that I ever watched. And it was really unsettling to me. At the time, I probably couldn't put my finger on it like I can now. But the idea of being locked up as a woman with a psychotic man with your child and nowhere to go, that's like a woman's worst nightmare.
God.
Along with all the other weird shit going on in there. And like, you cannot decipher reality from like ghosts. And then like, what is reality then at that point? Yeah. And then the one scene that just unsettles me the absolute most is the one where you just like peer into the door frame and there's like that dog man thing.
The guy giving him
that scene, I don't know what it is, but I hate it real bad.
I know so I don't mean to kill anybody off or anything like that, but so I listened to a whole bunch of podcasts and lots of psychology thing. And there was this professor breaking down that specifically that scene, why that scene is so unsettling. It's because it is something. It's a juxtaposition of things that don't add up or make sense, and there is no explanation for it at all. So it's just your mind's going crazy trying to figure out what's going on, and then there's just no resolution. So it's pretty much like if you just heard someone out. If we were here right now, and we just all of a sudden heard someone scream horribly, and then went outside and saw nothing. Like, what the fuck? That the idea of not knowing what just happened would be even worse than having some kind of an answer to it. So that's kind of what's going on there. It's it's inexplicable. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
To build upon that, something like the way, like to get into some of the psychology of it and how it's built. When it comes to the human mind, we don't like open, empty spaces when you're in an enclosed area. So like all the long shots of like long hallways or empty rooms where it's just dark and silent or dark and like eerie, like mentally as like a human being, like your first instinct is to, okay, I need to get in somewhere, or I need to get other people here to fill the space up. But we don't do well with empty spaces. And there's it's also playing around with the term's called liminal spaces, if I remember right, or liminal spaces, right?
Yes, liminal, liminal spaces.
Yeah, liminal spaces. So I don't. Sometimes I don't know if like directors do this stuff on purpose, or if they're actually consulting with psychologists to do this stuff, or if it's just coincidence that these things are made in a certain way to scare us. But this film, like from a technical standpoint, is really great, and it did a great job at building like a lore of the hotel, or what is it exactly?
Yeah, so it's a real place to overlook. It's a hotel. It's a real place too. But yeah, what you're referring to the liminal spaces, also the vectors, as far as clearly Stanley Kubrick and his DP. Dani knows this really well. Nothing is a coincidence or an accident when it comes to making a movie. It's so much time and effort put into it. Setting up shots.
Especially with Stanley Kubrick.
Especially with that Kubrick. So Kubrick took, I'm sure you already know this, he would spend like literally, it was like 90-something takes on simple shots. He'd have the actors do like 90 plus takes to the point where they were literally losing their minds. Where Shelley Duvall was losing her hair. Jack Nicholson's like sat down, like almost crying, like I have no idea what to do here. The point, he used that axe to break that door down because he actually had a training as a volunteer firefighter, right? But he was just like saying, he says the line, "Here's Johnny." He literally improv that on the spot because he was saying so much random shit over and over again, every time, something different every time. He's like, my mind is gone. I'm just saying whatever comes next to me. He could probably say purple next time. So it's just like seeing people literally lose their mind on camera is unsettling, and that's what we saw when Shelley Duvall was shooting that bat like that. She's like, she really is like, I'm losing my mind here. I'm about to hit him for real.
I'm tired.
Horrible abuse again. It's crazy. Yeah. Have you guys heard of the documentary about like all the interpretations, the Room 237, about all the interpretations of The Shining? It's an amazing documentary that sent me down like a rabbit hole.
And so many different people's perspectives on it too. It's great.
Highly recommend. You have to watch it. It's so good.
Netflix.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I watched it.
I think it's on YouTube. You can get my YouTube Premium account. You can watch it there. But one thing also, I'll let Otis go real quick. But what the last thing is, as Dani mentioned, it is a mother essentially trying to protect her son from her husband who's gone ape shit. That is a horrible, horrible scenario. And just imagining, like, again with Andy and Chicky and even the kids in Black Mask, or the kids in the Conjuring. A lot of kids. It's like, can you imagine? Also in the kids in Sinister, could you imagine being a child having to endure pure evil? Could you imagine that pure evil was coming from your father? It's like, that's just.
I can imagine. More pure than a child. Nothing is more pure than a child. That's why we have to utilize children in these ways in scary movies, because there's nothing more pure than a child's spirit.
It's innocent. Yeah. What have they done? So it's. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I went a little bit with Dani. I watched this movie also pretty early. I don't remember exactly how old I was when I saw The Shining, but yeah, it really creeped me out, and not in like a jump scary way, because there are jump scares in The Shining, but like just the two little girls, just certain shots of the hallway, just like the way that they had the music, like kind of like hit that odd note before things went wrong. Like it's so unsettling, and I kind of unpack a little bit more from it every time I see it, and understanding that it is like, I guess linked to multiple stories. I guess that makes more sense there. But again, it is because it's not scary, but it's not scary either. So trying to rate this on a horror scale is weird. But I guess for the eeriness factor, I gotta give it an A at least an A.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't rank it either. The quality of the film. I mean, we gotta. This is such a benchmark. I'm old as shit. I get it, but I would. Are we like limited to our S? The amount of S we can throw at movies?
We're not limited. I'm trying my best to like keep it somewhat sacred. Somewhat.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, it's The Shining, though. It's like
I'm not.
Shining.
Yeah, I didn't say that for you not to put it up there. If you think it's that quality or that level, then throw it up there.
I mean, it does start with an S, so I mean, you kind of have to on merit alone. It's the thing about The Shining too is like it's just so many things are referenced from it. Like obviously, Treehouse of Horror, The Simpsons, and even Ready Player One. It's years and years later, it's still overwhelmingly iconic. So we got to give it some clout, man. If not S, at least A. So I'm juggling between S and A. If I'm allowed to have S, I'll say S. But
I was gonna say I'm personally giving it an S because after watching that documentary, I just I don't know how to feel about it. It already unsettled me from when I was younger, and as I age, it's not getting any less unsettling.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
If I hear one more, if I see one more, here's Johnny reference in a show or a cartoon or an anime, I'm gonna lose my shit. That's one of the most overdone. I'm so tired of it at this point.
That's fair.
But it came from that.
It is, though, you know.
Yeah. But getting into the next film, this one is technically horror, but I kind of look at it as more of suspense to me than anything else. Like it looked like a monster flick almost. It comes to A Quiet Place. What I will say is at least for me, from a technical standpoint and from a writing standpoint, I thought it was really dope and really innovative to have, because isn't the daughter in this? She's deaf, right? The daughter's deaf.
The real life person.
The actor. So like them writing
that's how it should be.
Writing that into the story was amazingly well done. And having that be like one of the weaknesses of the aliens was, I don't know, I thought that was all put together really well. What I will say, I think that they suffer from one thing I talked to Dani about this before, and also I've talked to everybody about this before in regards to monster flicks, is I think they show the monsters too soon. Because after the third time of me seeing one of these aliens, I'm kind of just like, okay, I'm not really scared of it anymore. I'm kind of seeing imperfections in it.
Just shoot it.
Wait, no.
Just shoot
it. They ain't got big enough guns for that.
Eventually they do. Eventually they do that, but yeah, later on.
But so for me, I'd probably put it at a B. C. Because it was so well written. I'm just like, I want to put it there, but it just I had to put it at a C.
Damn.
I'm with Charlie.
I'm also with Charlie.
Oh my god!
I think it is written so well. I think it's an amazing movie. I don't know. It didn't scare me. I love the approach to it. If we were rating this on like action movies, it'd be like an S for sure. But
that's fair. So
it just didn't scare me in the way that I like to be scared when I watch horror movies. Was it a great movie? It was a 10 out of 10 movie. Like that shit is written so well. It's such an interesting new take on anything that I've really seen. So I enjoyed it for that reason. Did it scare me? Not really.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I guess it didn't scare me either, but the suspense and the drama was real. And also it was, like you mentioned before, Dev, it was a extremely innovative idea. The idea too of one thing I mentioned before, as far as like a subtext is something that only seasoned writers that know what they're doing and filmmakers are able to do. Dani knows this. She's been on countless sets. Being able to convey a lot with very little is what something that only a pro can do. They told the story of how is this family could survive these creatures that feed on sound. Oh, they have a deaf child. They never say it, but you get the idea. They were able to survive because as soon as they realized that sound was what caused monsters to come after you, the family already knew how to do sign language and they never had to speak. They had a built-in saving mechanism to save them. So the little nuances they had with the actual script, the fact that it was genuinely suspenseful, the scene where the mother is, I know it's kind of over the top, but she's giving birth, trying not to scream while the monster's coming up. That's a very tense scene. So even the kids drowning in corn in the silo, it's so creatively put together. I have to at least, I got to give it a B. And the fact that the last thing the dad does before he dies is he conveys to his daughter that he loves her. That she was confused when he that she's blaming him or not for the death of her brother. And he's like, I love you. I've always loved you. He signs to his daughter before he dies, I love you. I've always loved you. And then he screams for the music much. It's like, that's so well done, you know? So I got to give at least a B.
I just want to say, you can either make me cry or you're going to make me scared. You don't get to do both. And like, I can't be crying and be scared in the same movie.
I don't know, man. I'm interested to see how you feel about another movie then later on in this list, because there's another one where I feel like I damn near cried anyways.
So my grievance with this and why I give it the C, it was just too bright. Like if all the events of this happened at night, I feel like it brings so much more element of fear to it.
Yeah,
like
that's a great.
It's like, oh, there's a creature over there. Yep, I can't talk to it. Got it.
Yeah. I can't talk to it. Hello, Bob. Yeah. Oh, wait. I guess yeah. Fair. That's fair. No, I feel y'all as far as, because we are ranking horror movies and the idea is scares. That's fair.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it a B. If we're giving Chucky a B, fam, I'm going to give this at least
Chucky got a C from me. No,
I gave Chucky a C also. So I'm giving this at least a B, in my opinion. But.
Right.
This is a better movie than Chucky. This absolutely is a better movie than Chucky.
Yeah. So for people watching this, keep in mind, if we were just rating things off the quality as a film, then things would be shifted in different orders. But
oh yeah, for sure,
horror thing in mind. So that's why, at least for me, I looked at things and put them where I put them.
That's fair.
But getting into I think damn near the quintessential horror movie, one of the quintessential horror movies in Halloween. One of the starter of the slasher genre, and of a creation of an icon that has kind of been dragged out a little bit too much at this point, at least with the current franchise.
A little bit.
There's yeah. I told you how much I hated the third one. I vividly remember, like, when I saw that, I think I called Ethan. I don't know if I called the group or if I just called E and ranted about how bad that shit was and how much I hated that movie for at least 30
multiple times. Multiple times.
What do we expect after so many times?
Yeah, because he came out.
How much can you expect from something when you've squeezed every last drop out of it? What else do you think they're going to come up with that's fucking great?
Rehydrated it and then tried to squeeze it again, and then tried to rehydrate it again, and it just didn't work. It was just water at that point. It was just
there's nothing there.
I wish that's why I hated
dust.
it. I wish that's why I hated it. I wish that's why I hated it. Because the first one was to me. Like, I think the first one was terrible, but them second two, that second and third one, I was like,
of the reboot. But
that final run, the first one was solid. It was actually not a bad movie. I'll give them credit for that one.
I agree.
But them other two, like kills and ends, shoot yourself.
Ethan Otis, that third one made me angry. You know how I am. This film made me angry, but to get into this one,
we're talking about the goat. We're talking about the goat.
The original.
This movie was really innovative, and it kind of plays into. It was one of the forefathers of that concept we talked about earlier, as far as the minimalism of sound, when it came to Sinister, as well as the music being a staple thing. When I heard the music, it immediately made me feel different. Like, I just I would visibly like either sit up or like I move my hands certain ways when I would hear that sound cue. And then they made the thing that I love the most about Michael Myers is one of the similar things I talked about when it came to The Quiet Place, is that we don't know everything about him, and we don't need to. And the lack of information makes that scary. Now, as the franchise went on, they tried to talk about him being a demon baby or being cursed or whatever they did. But him just being the shape, and the concept of the shape being able to be anyone, and how he did certain things and the way he would stand, it was amazing. I'm putting this S tier. I don't feel bad about
that's
that.
Fine. So I know I keep on jumping people's feet, but you mention the shape. As far as somebody being in the background, there's so many times if you watch the movies, oh, by the way, he's right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's broad daylight too. He's just standing there, lingering, just hanging out, and it's even more scary because the idea is he's always around, just casually hanging out. And I love that he's called the shape. I love the idea that he has no real identity. You never see his actual grown, at least on this movie, you don't see his real grown face. Yeah, oh my gosh, sorry.
No, I mean, if you're taking this movie by itself and not contaminated with some of the lesser / later, renditions of it, it was a great movie, man. Like, again, so for me, this is at a point where I'm not necessarily desensitized, because Halloween, my parents would let me see until like high school.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like,
yeah.
But by that point, like horror wasn't the same for me anymore. I was kind of horror movies were like my action movies almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm.
so getting to that one, like seeing, you know, just like it did bring an element of fear because like this is like a regular person. So like just gotta think like this could happen. Like if like he's about my size, if I was to just go on a rampage, it would be difficult to stop me from doing it. So
that's
having that
reality.
In my mind,
He's you with adamantium knees,
basically, and teleportation. Because like some of them
Yeah.
times I was like, wait, hold on, like he was how you do that?
Yeah.
But no, it's like it made the rules, like it made the motif of how slashers go. And now slashers are basically like popcorn films, but like it was the slasher like in the time of slashers, so I got to give it a lot of credit. At the A tier, I'll go A tier. Just because again, it didn't give me like the element of fear and dread that I could, but it just had that thing in my mind like that could really happen. Like actually, like today. Imagine if Nikola Jokic just said, "Yeah, bro, it's done."
Yeah.
You gotta move somebody. You gotta get somebody faster.
You get a tank. Just get a tank. That's what you need.
He's saying something faster. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. For the most part, Mike Myers, he doesn't really run. He never. That's the point. He doesn't.
No.
He doesn't have to run. That's even worse.
No.
He's so scary. He doesn't have to run. So.
He's stalking you. That's the crazy shit about like an actual animal. He's waiting for you to get tired of waiting for you to make mistakes.
The music slaps to this day.
Well,
like,
it's John Carpenter, man. Isn't that it's John Carpenter, right, Dani? That did the score.
John Carpenter was a director for it, I believe.
No, I know he directed because John Carpenter oftentimes would do the scores for his movie. I know he did it like for Escape from New York and for Big Trouble in Little China. I'm gonna look it up right quick. I believe it was. But Dani, you can go next. I'm gonna look it up.
So I think what makes Michael so scary is that he is so human, but also very not human. Like you said, he walks everywhere, but he can kind of just transport places and kind of be faster than you no matter how far you're running. So I think that's absolutely horrifying. But what's interesting about this kind of like setting the tone for slashers is that there is not one drop of blood in this first movie.
Oh yeah.
There's no blood in the entire movie, which I've always found so interesting because the movie is still so scary and so effective. It's that stalking aspect for sure. It's that there's always this looming character behind you that other people may even see, but he's just so unsuspecting that they're just like, what the hell's that guy doing over there in that bush?
That's
keep minding my business. And then you look back and he's gone. It's very real, but it's still very unnatural. And he has this way of kind of being a ghost and being able to kind of float in and out of the background without you seeing. So I think that's what makes him so absolutely terrifying. And not even being able to see his face. He doesn't make noises. He just has this theme, again, with the music. Super effective. Love the usage of a theme song for a killer. That was, I think, really popular in the 80s and late 70s, obviously, but like super effective. Gets your heart racing every time.
He is completely silent. He never, even as a kid, when we see him first, he doesn't speak. We never hear Michael Myers speak.
I love that. I love that so much. There's something so terrifying about him having nothing to say, but having to do all of these things.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I'm giving this a B because there's no blood. I like a bit of gore.
That's fair. It's fair. It's a little bit, everything you said is very accurate as far as him seeming so real. Another thing you mentioned too, Dani, is this movie had a lot of fun with the depth perception or depth of field, as far as just lots of things that happen in the background. One thing too, Charlie knows I'm a fan of wrestling. The Undertaker, he got his move, one of his signature moves from this, as far as he rises up essentially. Because there's a part in this movie where it seems like Michael Myers is, I think we think that Jamie Lee Curtis has stabbed him in the neck with like the iron. I'm sorry, not the iron, the coat hanger, right? The coat hanger, and we think, maybe he's down for the count. He's lying in the background, and the way that the shot is set up, she's in the foreground, he's in the background. He just slowly sits up, and it's so well done. It's awesome. And he's also, again, he's silent. You have no idea. that's the worst kind of entity that is just
horrifying.
It's horrifying. He's sneaking up behind you. So yeah, we got to give him some credit for that. I love the idea too that he, like Otis mentioned the idea of establishing so many rules. The original Scream Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis got her, made her first movie, her debut was this, and she crushed it with this too. So you got to get some props to our girl for that. The rules idea, as far as like whoever the virgin survives, came from this more or less too. So it's you gotta show some credit where it's due. I would give it a solid, based off its legacy, what it did. Also, my boy John Carpenter, I would give it a solid A. But I know what you mean. It's not like a bloody. It's not that kind of thing. It's not big budget. It's very small budget. But also, it did establish or set
It's still effective. Yeah.
The trend for slasher films too. So I give it a solid A.
Real quick, the last two things I'm gonna add in to one our question earlier. John Carpenter did do the score. Yeah, I just looked it up. And then two, the last thing I really thought was so well done that they did was that they made sure they characterized him as being a child. Because keep in mind, he was arrested as a child and was in a mental facility for his entire life. So he still has childlike tendencies. And you see that through like some of the kills, like him putting on a sheet and putting on glasses to trick somebody to kill him, or like the way he like stabbed the body through a wall and pinned it through a wall and like looks at it and admires it. Like doing childlike things, but in a horrific way. And I'm like, damn, like they characterizing this character without him saying a single word, just through like accents or subtle things he's doing. Like he went and got his sister's gravestone and put it in the bed too.
Yeah.
Just did like shit that only children would do, like because they don't really understand or they don't get like the relevance of certain things. So he's just doing shit to do shit because he wants to do it. I think
that's the other thing for me that is also a very creepy aspect is that like this person is related to the person that he's after,
directly related to
the whole time. Like that's his sister.
So. But she doesn't know that. She has no idea that's the case. She doesn't know that.
I know, but there's something so creepy about that. There's something, once you finally do find out that's what it is, that's unsettling. That's so unsettling.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Dr. Loomis, the guy that's hunting after him pretty much the whole movie, doesn't he pretty much say that he never, in all their time together, he pretty much never spoke, yet he still knows that he pretty much believes if there is such a thing as pure evil, this kid basically is it.
Yeah.
Somehow.
I still laugh at him because I still have that adaptation they did with him in the Boondocks where that guy's just like chasing the kid the whole time. Chasing,
yeah.
He's evil. You must kill this child.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, so I gave it an S. Ethan gave it an A. No, you gave it a B or A, right? Ethan?
No, Danny gave it a B.
Yeah, Danny gave it a B. B and E both gave it an A.
Okay, so I'll put it an A.
A or
because I gave it an S, so we got an S and two A's and B.
Yes, an A then.
Okay, next up we have another class. We got all the classics like around each other. Aliens. I don't know if I got the right picture. I know originally I had the first Alien here, but we had a special request from East, Mr. Meaner himself to get the second film, not the first film. So we'll let you start off.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to go back to the first one. The first one, it was a good way to introduce xenomorphs to the world, but it was not the most conducive movie, at least to me. But Aliens, oh my god, everything from the set design to the actual final fight to for lack of a better word, like I still love this movie to this day. This is one of my favorites. It is kind of hard to like see it as a horror to me at this point because I've watched it so much, so like the horror side is like not necessarily as prevalent, but a really well done movie. Like just seeing like some of the effects they did to make the aliens like actually like move. Like they're still kind of like I wouldn't want to see a xenomorph right now. Like they're like top 5 on my just never want to see ever list. Like right there next to like Dracula.
Yeah.
But like oh god no. But if I'm scoring Aliens, I think I'm gonna give this an A too. This is a really good movie. Sigourney Weaver gives a fantastic performance.
Killer performance.
Yeah. I think she has a better job in this movie than she did in the first one. She had more to do.
I agree.
Yeah. Is this the one she had the mech suit on in this one, right? Was that the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the second one. Great movie.
So for me, it's interesting because I came into this franchise a lot later. My first introduction to Predator and Aliens was the first Alien versus Predator movie. I had to go back and watch the original ones after the fact.
So your introduction to Alien or Xenomorphs
was Alien versus Predator.
Mm-hmm. That's a weird story there.
I mean, that's right around when he came around, so that makes sense. But it's still crazy.
Yeah. So for me, I love the design of them. I kind of have this weird thing about like monsters with no eyes. It's like monsters with no eyes and monsters with excessive eyes. Like those two things fuck me up. So the fact that the Xenomorph had that slick black head and then the little bitty mouth inside of the big mouth was also a cool concept. And I still have this irrational fear of face huggers and chest bursters to this day. Like I don't know. I have that is like one of the worst ways to possibly die in the world is to get a face hugger. Which you escape that, you're like, oh thank God, all right, I'm alive. Fuck. And then you die later with a chest burster. It's like, okay, bro, I can't win.
Could you?
And they don't discriminate.
Danny, don't discriminate. Danny, you can go next, but just I'll keep something. Yeah, then you go next.
Yeah, so for me, I'd probably put it at a B, but that's only because I had seen this monster a bunch before I saw the original or saw these like first couple. So I wasn't like as terrified as probably Otis would have been seeing that for the first time.
You also, so you weren't just desensitized; you saw them in a almost comical way in those other movies.
Yeah. It's more like a Fast and the Furious version of them at that point.
I'm kind of with Charlie on that one. Like I didn't see them in quite the same order you guys did, but I am obsessed with these creatures. They're a Stan Winston creation. He's an icon in the industry as well. And I'm with you on the no eyes, Charlie. I think it really takes away anything that can really dehumanize a creature and make it as least human as possible. Then I think that's really effective. But I love anything bursting out of the chest. The face huggers are absolutely horrifying. Like there's something so scary about something latching onto your face like that and something just like bursting from your guts.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think
that's what you have to really like. The fact that it is a 2-part process. You think it's horrifying getting something stuck in your face. True.
Yeah.
But it gets worse, friend. It gets worse.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. Good Lord. So y'all saw a complete opposite of me. I know we're talking about Aliens, and Aliens is great, but it's much more of a sci-fi action movie. But Alien, I saw when I was a kid, when I was a pup, I was even younger than Charlie, I saw Alien, and I saw like not the whole movie. I saw like a random scene out of order. My dad was just like doing something dumb, and I had no context. Because you gotta remember, in Alien, it doesn't show up until like like 2/3 of the movie, essentially.
Yeah.
I just saw these guys on a spaceship because they're literally having lunch or dinner or something like that, talking with each other as being friends. I thought it was like an episode of Star Trek or something like that. I was like, what is this? I thought it was kind of boring. Out of nowhere, Old Boy starts coughing. I'm like, oh, he's coughing. Why is he? I remember saying, why is he coughing? My dad's like, I have no idea. My dad was a horrible father, and so it's like so we're just watching this thing, and all of a sudden the guy gets laid over on the table, and you said the chest person pops out, and I fell out. I was like, I fell out of the sofa. And the thing is, the people in the movie, I'm sure y'all know this too. The people in the movie, they didn't know it was going to happen either. The actor, the main was it William Hurt or John Hurt? John Hurt. He knew, yes, but no one else knew. So when that woman, I can't remember her name is, the female actor's watching, she goes, oh my God. And she does that thing. She's genuinely afraid and confused. So I give that all the credit in the world. Now, Aliens is a great movie, but what I like about Aliens is the idea of Ripley. Like, if you were a person to survive that scenario with one, and they're like, oh, by the way, but wait, there's more, literally a whole lot more. You like, and she's trying to warn them over and over. Yeah, she's like, Paul Reiser, you're a fucking idiot. Let's get out of here. What are we doing? Yeah, it's 100%. But they up the stakes even more by having the mother. Is it called the Queen Mother, whatever? I can't remember what it's called now. The Hive Mother. But
Hive Mother, Queen Mother, something like that. But Queen, yeah. The
Queen, basically. But it's like that scenario of seeing an entity that's able to produce these in mass that's larger than anything by itself is like just like overwhelming. And I love the standoff they have. Dani's talking about mothers earlier in horror movies because she's trying to protect Newt, little itty bitty Newt, to survive this. And there's a standoff where Ripley's backing up to the elevator, and the Queen Mother's like, "I have my babies, you have your baby. Let's just call it quits. Let's call it even. We're all good. Everything's good." And Ripley could have done that, and then she's like, "Nah, fuck you." And I just love that part to pieces. So yeah, it's up there. It's good. As far as scary goes, I can't give it a high scare factor because it was, again, it's more of an action movie, but it's still good. It still has Bill Paxton, right? Yeah, Bill Paxton in there. I give it a solid B. A solid B.
It's equal out at a B then, because I gave it a B, Dan gave it a B, and Ethan gave it a B.
But it's a good movie though. Really good movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Now we're getting into, I guess, probably the ancestral sequel or the ancestral like
legacies.
Halloween. Yeah, when it comes to legacy of slashers, we're getting into Friday the 13th. I know this part's like cut off. Not for fun fact, not the one that involves Jason Voorhees, but that involves Pamela Warrior, the first one. That had some really cool. So for me, I thought that it was a really, at least for the time, not for. Again, this is another. I knew the story of Jason Voorhees before I watched this film. I think I watched this in like 2 or 3 years ago in college because I was doing backtracking, torturing myself and watching even all the bad Jason movies, or the Friday the 13th movies in reverse order. I got that first one, and the one thing that really caught my eye was the prosthetic effect on some of the kills. If I remember right, the first one had the one kill where I don't think it was Kevin Bacon. It was some actor as well known where she took the arrow and put it through his neck, and you saw the arrow like protruding through the skin. The blood looked kind of bad, but that skin effect of like an arrow coming through and how they did that was so amazing to me. I still think it's kind of hard to believe that this elderly woman somehow like killed all these college kids and was moving around like Batman and stabbing through the. It was amazing, and the plot twist of it being this unassuming elderly woman was, for the time, it was really innovative because you see a lot of stuff do that later on, but for the time, I think this is really dope. And you see what comes out of it later in the franchise. But to give this one its flowers, I'd probably put this one at an A for me.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
You want me to go next or Dani? Go ahead, Dani.
Yeah.
So I am right here with the special effects too. I love this. I love this movie. The special effects were done by Tom Savini. He also is a legend. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of his effects. They're very gory and he's very like in camera with his effects. So just like you were saying, like you really get to like see up into the business of what's happening. And I really enjoy that about these movies. So that alone for me gets that to like an A spot. Just because again, I do like that gore. Yeah. And yeah, I did actually get to work with one of the actors that played Jason Voorhees eventually. I worked with Kane Hodder.
You did. That's I knew that about you. Yeah, you told me that before. That's right. You told us that.
We did tell that story.
I did not apply his prosthetic. Tom Devlin had applied it, but I had to take it off, and he was very intimidating.
Yeah,
very nice, very nice, but very intimidating.
Yeah, you did tell us.
How tall is he really? Because I've heard he's like 6'4", 6'5". I don't know how tall he is for real.
I don't remember how tall he was. I feel like he wasn't as tall as I thought he was, but like his presence is taller than he is. If that makes sense. Yeah. I feel like he was maybe like 6'1", 6'2". I don't know if I'm misquoting that. I don't want him to like see this and be like, I'm taller than that. But I feel like he was not as tall as I expected him to be. His presence is big. That's how I would explain him. There's something so just like large about his presence. It's very intrusive. It's hard to explain. They cast him so well.
He's intimidating because you have to be able to, behind a mask, a thick mask like that, and no emoting as far as voicing anything, still emote that much power and presence. And I'm sure you all have heard the story before about how they were trying to make Freddy versus Jason, and Kane Hodder and Robert Englund were trying for years to make that happen, and they finally got it to happen. They finally the studios made it work, and they decided to go with somebody else other than Kane Hodder to be the actor in it. And Kane Hodder was so enraged and pissed, so he kind of has ironically enough, his name is Hodder, and he has known for having a bit of a temper when it comes to it.
That's fair.
So the add-on to that, the fun fact, you were not only trying to do that, but they were trying to do a 3-way crossover with those two and Ash from Evil Dead.
Right, that's right.
Yeah,
eventually made a comic, which the comic was kind of cool. Ash is the asshole in the comic, and they kind of, I think they connected like Jason being a Deadite pretty much is the reason why he's like he is.
Able to survive so much. But so I remember that comic real quick. I know it's off base. Was Ash able to like fight Freddy and Jason somehow, or was he teaming up with
pretty
them?
much? Yeah, like he was getting in some licks. I don't know how he was surviving some shit, but he was getting in some licks.
All right, fair enough. More power to you.
And last fact about that man, Kane Hodder, which one was it where I think he had like a whole roof of a building like collapsed on him by accident? And he like kept acting or kept going like
shit, really?
I don't know. I never heard of that. That's insane.
If I remember,
that's insane.
The house. I can't remember. I saw it in like a documentary or some shit a while back. Like,
my boy had a whole house following him. He's just like, keep it rolling,
keep going. I method.
He didn't keep that exact tape going, but like, buddy, like, he like, all right, we gonna finish this fucking movie.
Just like,
that's the best scene ever. If it wasn't in the script and he did that, I'd be like, yo, this is my favorite person alive.
Really embodying Jason Voorhees for sure. Like, if that doesn't embody Jason Voorhees, him just like rising out of the dead, insane.
Because he doesn't run either. Jason doesn't run.
No.
Not the beginning. In the reiterations, that man sprints. That man. Man,
scarier to me. That one was scary.
That man was a menace. Like that is one iteration where the later version added a different elements because that man was an athlete, bro. Like
that's horrifying. That's horrifying. That's
like I half imagine him doing parkour, hopping over trees and stuff to get to.
Oh hell
like, he was sprinting. I was like, nah, dog. I don't want that.
He took an axe and like chucked it hella far and hit Buddy in the head with it. I'm like, yeah, he's an Olympic athlete. He's an Olympic.
He got the like, gold and axing dome pieces.
The gold and axing. He was like legit hunting. He was utilizing bear traps and shit. I was like, yeah, this dude is terrifying. I
have seen that. Horrifying.
That's right. Just like, just more of a reason. Like animals already exist, so I usually stay away from the woods. But just gave me an extra layer to like, I'm not going in the woods. Like the camp in general, just been like, you know what, camp's not for me. Sometimes, you know, we can have a camp at like a school, like in the city with like people, but like in the woods, no. Like
I'm good.
You can actually go stay at Camp Crystal Lake. It's in Lake New Jersey. It's in Lake New Jersey. I would totally go stay there. You would go stay there?
You're a grown woman. Why would you do that to yourself?
Do I have guns with me? Can I have weapons?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you could.
Biggest gun possible.
I need Frank Castle with me. That's the only way that I'm going. He has to be there next to me, awake at all times. Yeah,
I'm a bona fide NRA member at that point. I swear to God. Give me all the guns.
Hockey mask for hockey mask.
Give me all the guns.
But also, what's funny about talking about Jason so much now, because Jason does show up in the second movie. Well, I guess he's in the first movie. He's not really the villain. You have to wear the hockey mask until the third movie, right?
Yeah, because it's a bag.
It's the burlap sack, which is like, what the hell? So it's so funny. He's such an iconic entity. It's not to this third movie where he actually becomes the icon in this franchise. It's wild. It's wild.
I'm trying to remember. I think Savini had something to do with as far as like the switch up with the hockey mask. I can't remember why, or he was a hockey fan or something of the sort. That's awesome. Again, shout out to that swole ass man. That's another old ass man is just yoked for no reason. That man is
Tom.
Yeah, he's just big. It's for no reason.
He really is.
Yeah, you know him personally, don't you, Dani? Yeah. You know him personally, don't you? Tom Savini?
No, I wish. Oh my gosh.
I want to meet that man.
Me too.
Because I don't know how up to date you are to WWE too, but the RIP to Bray Wyatt, like his Fiend mask, like Tom Savini personally made that mask for him. Where it looked like
he
he personally. That's why it looks so fucking terrifying. He's done a couple things for just some WWE wrestlers, I believe.
That's so cool.
I think didn't he do Kane's? I think they did Kane's also.
Yeah, he has something to do with Kane's as well.
Yeah, back in the day.
But for this movie in particular, though, I gave
we went so far off. Yeah, I don't even know where we are now.
Oh, yeah, I never actually gave my review on it either. I think this one's a staple just because, like, this is really my first time seeing gore to this degree. Like, usually, like, gore was implied, and like you see, like, you hear somebody screaming in pain off screen or something like that. Like, nah, you saw it. Like, the blood was there and gushing. Like, see, like the scene you talking about with the arrow coming through his neck. Like, that was like I had never seen that done on screen like that. So it was jarring in a different way. And I think it kind of eventually spawned like the gore that we see in a lot of movies today. But I think honestly it's fair to give it an A2 because I mean it just reaffirmed the rules to a different level in this. Like you just saw immediate punishment to breaking the rules and
like while you're still like you haven't even put out yet.
Like still in the mid. Like okay, just
in point.
Don't be horny in the woods or you die.
It's our boy Kevin Bacon, right? Kevin Bacon was one of the ones that got hemmed up.
I think he was the arrow one. Like he got the arrow piercing, I believe.
He got the arrow. Okay, he's arrow piercing.
I think that was Kevin Bacon. I think you are right about that.
But I think because obviously this came out right after because this came in response to Halloween. Like Dani said, Halloween had no blood because it had such a low budget. So this movie actually they wanted to keep up with the money that Halloween made. So they said let's put a lot of blood in it. Basically, that's the idea.
And they hired Tom Savini, the king of gore.
They got the right man for the job.
Shit. Yes, they did.
What are
did y'all already rank it? I know Otis did, but Dani and Charlie. I'm sorry, I was on the phone. Did y'all rate it?
We got 2 A's for me and What did you give it, Dani? Did you
A?
It's the first one, and it does have my boy Kevin Bacon in it. Because the twist is fun, and because at the end too, the little boy does grab him out of the canoe too, right? Yeah. Shit, I give it an A.
Initially, fun fact about that. Initially, that was supposed to be like a dream sequence. That was supposed to be a thing until they were like, all right, we need a sequel, and the mom's dead. How are we gonna do this shit? Oh, we'll just make him a zombie and bring him back.
Oh, word, okay. I didn't know that.
But okay, now we're gonna get into a I think one of the better directors of the new age horror directors, I guess.
Yes,
Ari Aster and his film Midsommar. This was Dani. You go first with this one. I want you to go.
Yeah, you go first, Dani.
What are your thoughts? I think we talked about this briefly.
Oh, there are so many themes. So, from a female perspective, this entire movie is just like a woman's worst nightmare. Again, themes of cheating, themes of betrayal, themes of
gaslighting.
Yeah, just a lot of themes of gaslighting. There's psychedelic usage, which I love. I love any type of psychedelic usage in horror movies because it really confuses a story again and really just confuses reality. I love a movie where I'm just like a little bit confused the whole time and I'm like, what the hell is actually going on? So I really like how that translated throughout the film. There's so much foreshadowing, and I think you have to watch the film multiple times to be able to really kind of understand what the hell is going on.
Yeah, it's deliberately cryptic, but at the same time, that's part of the appeal.
Yes. There's themes of aging. There's all these themes that have very much to do with like collective hysterics and collective thinking. It's so much. My first watch of it, I wasn't super impressed, but then my second watch, I was like, okay, I get it. I get it now. I get it. I love any type of like cult-like movies because, again, there's a touch of reality there. It's tangible that this could possibly be happening in some weird ass like middle of the woods place. It's creepy. I like cult things. So for me, this one ranks pretty high. This one again is going to be an A. I feel like I'm ranking a lot of things A's, but like this is a good one for me.
That shows a good one.
Yeah, it's really good. So there was this incident that happened in the 1800s where a person just started dancing in a weird kind of way by themselves. And then out of nowhere, another person walking by just started dancing too. And over the course of about an hour or so, a group of people just started dancing with them. And before, I think by the end of that day, it was a group of like a mass, like a large mass of people, maybe 100 or so people started dancing together out of nowhere. And they danced like that for, I think it was like a week or something like that, for a long time. And there was no explanation about it. It was just a weird cult mentality that happened.
Yeah.
And I think some of them actually did die. Some of them died dancing. They danced so hard, but it's, all of a sudden they just stopped and walked away. And to this day, it's one of the weird. I'm gonna try to look up the actual name of that phenomenon, but it's
where did that happen? Just out of curiosity,
I hate that.
Where it happened. You know where it happened.
I'm gonna try to find this goddamn thing. But the reason I bring that up is the reason I bring that up is because I heard that story a while ago, but this movie reminds me of that as far as this weird, disturbing cult-like behavior that has no real explanation behind it. People are just doing insane things. There's a part in this movie, y'all. Where a person drops off, their face smashes in, and people are like, cool. Just chill about it. It's like, that is horrifyingly unsettling. A dude gets, buried inside the body of like an animal. What is happening? This is
a bear,
right? Mm-hmm. I was like, this dude, because it is very much, even with all this insanity, Danny's right. One of the worst, craziest shits is very much Florence Pugh. There's a scene where in the beginning of the movie where she's just like crying her eyes out as far as like she's losing her family, and just seeing the boyfriend is like, I have no idea what to do. It's like, this is just horror. It's pure horror. We've all been there where someone's just losing their mind from tragedy or grief, and it's just like, you don't know what to do. Either as a person going through the grief, or you're with somebody going through the grief. It's just horror. So Ari Aster, I hate you. Hate you a lot.
So for me, I'm gonna give this an A2. And the 2 points I want to get on to really quickly, because I want to hold us up too long, is to Otis's point earlier when it came to A Quiet Place and it happened too much in the daytime. For this to be mostly based around like in bright middle of the day and still keep me creeped out was a testament to how good and how well made it was. Because I can't remember, there were maybe like a couple night scenes where like people were sleeping, but majority of all the like the action and stuff that happens during broad daylight, like in the middle of like July, and like it's bright as fuck outside. It's hot. So that like that
the safest time.
Right. The ability to keep me that creeped out during that time period with that much light was impressive. And then the prosthetics. When I saw the Native American, like the eagle thing they did to Buddy in the shed, where they had his back skin filleted out like wings.
No.
Man, that was fucking, I don't know how they did that, but I want to know. It was so well done. It looked amazing. But yeah, I give it an A.
Lots of great effects. Yeah, lots of great effects throughout this whole piece.
Yeah, so I've actually never seen this movie. Every time I come across either the poster for it or the trailer for it, like scrolling through movies, it gives me the feeling of another movie that still lives rent free in my brain. Nope. Because that's just what I think every time I look at this. Like, why would I choose to do this to myself willingly? I'm okay. I got a little bit of sadisticness to me, well, sadism or whatever you want to call it, but I'm okay. But I mean, to be able to instill that in me from a trailer actually is difficult, because usually I'm just like, that ain't shit, whatever, cool. But yeah, nope.
Yeah, it is.
Crying, she see Florence Pugh doing this shit. He was like, "Oh nah."
Florence Pugh. Shout out to Florence Pugh.
Love her.
Nah, I do. She is dope. Nope.
Yeah. So real quick, I gotta say this. So it's called Dancing Mania, also known as the Dancing Plague or Choreomania. It's a real thing. From St. John's Dance, Tarantulam, and St. Vitus Dance was a social phenomenon that occurred primarily in mainland Europe between the 14th and 17th century. It involved groups of people dancing erratically, sometimes thousands at a time, for no understandable reason. So those
we gotta
are
make that
phenomena
movie.
that happen.
We have to make that movie. If it doesn't exist, we got to make that movie.
We'll make it next.
Trippy.
I mean,
that kind of just trippy behavior
I wanted to
in real life.
If we make that movie, we can't be in it though, because like
no. My vision is to have the original thing happen, but have it skip and like show it through generations. So you're just gonna go through the time eras into modern day, where niggas listen to Ice Spice and
Of all the tracks.
like, see, okay, if it's music on, then that's different, right?
But can you imagine?
But if this is no music,
that's horrible.
This is not black people. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, it is not black. What are you doing?
But they're
gonna sit and record it and then walk away.
Even ancient black folks, like they made music with their bodies. Niggas were drumming and smacking shit.
If it's no music, it's not us. This is like one of those things. Is just kind of skips over us as a demographic. Like,
yeah,
and then it's onward.
That'd be a side effect.
In all honesty, though, could you imagine
it's this mass hysteria, man?
That's what it is. Mass
real.
hysteria. It's mass hysteria. What would you do if you just saw? If you're walking, there was no music at all. All of a sudden, you just saw random people just start dancing. I mean, I know we're in LA.
And I would say nope, and I would keep on going.
I would lose my. I would
say nope.
Like first off, you're not gonna really catch me walking to many places in general. I'm gonna be like in my car immediately. Me scared. Fast and Furious.
Horrifying.
See an old dude doing the Carlton on the sidewalk.
If I saw that, I say, okay, well, I give a dollar. Okay,
they are getting ready to purge. Let's go. Like, this is the ritual before. It's time to get out of here. Different state.
I love it.
So I wanted to put that in A. Moving on to another film, which this is the film. I don't know if Otis has seen this, but he has seen this. Yes, you've seen. I figured you have similar sentiment to this when it comes to Chucky as when it comes to this, because this A Cabin in the Woods pretty much is more comedy than horror to me.
This movie is hilarious.
I never thought I would see a
good comedy.
I never thought I'd see Chris Hemsworth drive himself into an electrical. Was it him or was it Chris Evans?
That was him. That was him. Yeah, I'm gonna hit this jump on this motorcycle because I'm big and macho.
Well, the thing is, he wasn't big and macho. They made him. He actually wasn't a jock. He was actually a decent dude, but they pumped that gas into him to make him seem like he was a macho guy. Yeah.
Because it came out in 2011. Because Avengers came out what year? They came out in 2012, right?
I think what it was.
Yeah, but that was after Thor, though. That was
he filmed this first, and then Drew Goddard, whatever, where they were able to like get more funding for release because they had him in the movie. So he filmed this one first.
And for me, watching it because I watched it after I'd seen all the Avengers stuff, and I'm like, oh, Chris Hemsworth here. Oh, he about to do his thing, big macho dude, and just splat. I was like, okay, that's subverting expectations.
Yeah, because he was like one of the first deaths. Also,
he was the first death.
He was the first one.
Yeah,
he was cool. I remember watching version of this movie.
Yeah, I was like, "Yo, there's a black dude in this movie. He didn't die first." I was like, "Well done." That's a little surprise, a little subversion there. Okay, cool.
Funny enough, I had somebody tell me that whole trope is false. Apparently, in horror, where like the black person dies first.
Yeah, because they thought about it with the what's it called, Night of the Living Dead, and ironically enough, the last guy is actually the black dude. So it's like, wait a minute, this trope is weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but that'd be interesting. But for me, I'd put this in the B tier. I for the same reasons I enjoyed Chucky, I enjoyed this when it came to the comedy and the horror aspects, and the fact they were able to throw in like I think inside of the facility they had like random monsters from actual other films, whatever it may be.
It's so cool.
You could have Chucky and a xenomorph in the same room, touring somebody.
There was a Chucky in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you seen this one, Dani? You've seen this one, haven't you?
Yeah, it reminds like Hunger Games and like what's that? Player One had a baby or something.
Ready Player One. Yeah.
Oh, I love this movie. Again, it's like more fun to me than it was horror, but I just enjoy watching this movie. I think this movie is fun to watch, and this is one that I can repeatedly watch and enjoy. So I'm giving this one a B as well, also for the same reasons as Charlie, for sure. But one of my favorites.
It's a fun movie. I will confess that I saw this in the theater back in the day when it first came out in 2011 or so, and somehow I hadn't heard about the old gods and things like that nature, like Lovecraftian type of things yet. For somehow I don't know how it was. So this was my introduction to Lovecraftian and old god type of things, and I was like, "Yo, that's pretty awesome." So I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the comedy and the humor and everything, but also understand the lore behind the old gods and having Sigourney Weaver break that shit down for me. I was like, this is pretty fucking dope. So I actually like this a lot too. Also, we got to give our shout out to our boy, but Bradley Whitford and the whole merman thing he wanted to see, and then finally he does see a merman. He's like, oh wait a minute, that's what I wanted, and he gets killed by death by irony. So it's always fun. So.
No, so I got similar to E here. This wasn't my first time seeing Lovecraftian things. It was my second, but this is the first one in an actual horror sense because the first one was South Park with Cthulhu and
Y'all not watch Hellboy? Y'all didn't watch Hellboy?
But they don't say do they even say that's what it is though? I know that thing looks like a
Dr. Jihad. Yeah, it's like a direct name from the Lovecraft. Like it's the actual Seven Dragons.
But do they mention? Yeah, I guess I didn't.
I definitely didn't make that connection.
I based Reaper off of some of the stuff, so I was doing the research, and yeah, they were.
Okay.
My bad. I didn't mean to go off the tangent. My bad. Go ahead.
You good?
Yeah. So I mean, this is my first time. I guess knowingly consuming the old gods type of content, and it was cool. I give this a B. Again, it's an enjoyable movie. Like it's not a bad movie at all. It is horror. Like it's not like with Chucky. Like it's not like it's so much of a joke of a thing. It was like why is it scary to you? Like people died, and like if you go to these situations and if you go to that cabin, good luck making it out. Just bottom line there. So yeah, like this is a legit horror movie to me. But yeah, I can't give it higher than B tier. I can't do that.
Yeah, it's definitely B. What's funny? Have y'all heard the whole like the analogy or breakdown that this is basically Scooby Doo done in modern? And what if Shaggy had to save the day?
That's cute.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. I give it a B also.
The B's. Okay. We'll put it at B then. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put this. We got.
What is it? I can't see it.
Hereditary.
Oh yeah. S.
So
S.
Yeah, put
sure.
You should go ahead and tell me why you're such a hater, nigga.
Like,
why do you hate it so much?
I don't dislike this movie. I think it's a good movie, but S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
I give it an S.
I had a episode, but I remember because this is before we did the episode with Dani, where I remember you went in on this shit. Where you did not
I was there
like
too.
Movie.
I was there too.
Because I remember we talked about it with Dani because her interview, first official movie on the channel, like her interview was, and we talked about that vividly because it was. Yeah. I think we filmed it maybe like the week after because you went in on this fucking movie. You did not like this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched it since then, and I like. It's still boring to me, but like it's not like a bad story. Like I get the horror that they were trying to do. Like this was a more like atmospheric horror movie, like than a in your face one. So like I just watched as like this is supposed to do it. Cool. I get it. So like when I watched it and was like trying to not worry about the fear element and watch the movie, like it's a solid movie, but like it's not even remotely scary. It's just like, oh yeah,
I can't go with that. I can't.
Oh, like it's unsettling. I get what they wanted to like show there, but like I was not scared watching this movie at all. This is a eerie drama. That's what it was to me. It was a very eerie drama.
You're not wrong. It is an eerie drama. So I'll say something real quick now that when y'all ones go. Otis, I see where you're coming from because it's very much it's a slow burn, like a 70s type of thing. It's more akin to Exorcist as far as the pacing of it goes. But it's the moments that happen hit hard. Like the moments are also very, very unexpected, and they burrow into your skin. The part with the spoiler, who hasn't seen this movie before, the most scary part about the movie is actually two scenes. It's a scene where a mom loses her shit on her son at the dinner table, which is just horrifying in a different type of way. And the other scene is where it's using the prelapse sound. We hear what sounds possibly like a song of some kind, but we have no idea what's happening at all. And we follow it for a long ways in a hallway through a house, and we finally see what it is, and it's like ultimate payoff. It's like those
So
two moments
good.
alone are worth the price of admission. But I see what you're saying. It's not meant to be like a slasher film or things like that. There's a body count, but there's definitely a body count.
Oh yeah.
But it's like
throughout the course of years, yeah.
I mean that one got into my bones for long. Y'all know Ari, friend of the show, Ari. Her and I were like, because we saw it together back in the day, and she like I drove her home to her place, and she goes, she literally said, "Please don't leave me." And so it messed her up so bad that I had to spend the night at her house. So it's it definitely does the job, I think. But you know,
I saw this 2018, so it was my senior year of high school. When I mean Toni Collette deserves some sort of award for her acting in this shit. Because the thing, the scene that unsettled me the most was the scene. It was right after the sister dies from the way she dies.
Oh,
the son walks into his room, and you hear her discover and just wail. And then when it finally transitioned to seeing her mourn, she's looking like writhing in pain, and I felt it.
Yeah.
I don't know if she like actually was what she was channeling, but it felt like she just lost a child in the worst possible
in real life
and found that shit that made my skin crawl.
But Dev, the way it's shot is you just see the son lying there. I don't know if his eyes even blink. He's just lying there like overnight, comatose almost, like catatonic. That's well done.
And I didn't realize there was as much foreshadowing as there was until because I watched this from a couple times and I watched a bunch of videos breaking it down.
So much foreshadowing.
Writing is so it's so tight because there's so much subtle foreshadowing through the entire thing and the theme of like the family generational trauma and all that stuff. It's amazing. This is an amazing horror movie, and I think this is Ari Aster as well too. This is the film that
it is
for me put him on the scene as like, all right, this is a new dude that's coming in. He's like him and Jordan Peele. Like I think at that point we're like because I think I think Get Out was around the same time.
The same year, it may not be the same year, but
I can look it up. It's 2018, but I think Get Out was maybe like 2017. I know I was in high school
right before it. Okay,
but this is like it was them two and everyone else for a little bit in horror when it came to directing.
Yeah,
but I'm giving it an S. So Get Out came in 2017, so it was like Get Out came out the year before this came out.
Okay, Dani.
Yeah, this movie absolutely made me sick. I love the idea of the generational trauma and the way that they deliver some of the information to you. Just like Charlie was saying, like, and how Ethan was saying, like, the blank shot of him just completely catatonic and then her just like gut-wrenching screams in the back, the slow build to her just like with that piano string and just like the body movements and like her emotional performance throughout the entire film was outstanding. Tons of foreshadowing. I loved how like the dollhouse aspect of how they were kind of like in and out of the dollhouse. I really thought that was an interesting perspective just because of how like she has no control throughout this movie and these strange things are happening to her because her mother just passed away and like she doesn't really know what reality is too, again with like not knowing what reality is and it all coming down to something that they were kind of just born into and then finally like fulfilling this weird strange prophecy like over generations and generations. Like there's something so sick about not knowing that you're just a part of this thing. And even like when she's decapitated, like there's that weird symbol on the pole. Like all of this was planned and like the peanut allergy was even sickening, just like the hurriedness and just like, oh God, that movie is so sick. So that one, for me, an effective horror movie makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Not just scared, but it makes me uncomfortable. And this movie made me unbelievably uncomfortable. Super uncomfortable.
Thoroughly. Yeah. The thing you mentioned too, obviously, Toni Collette, I remember the year that it came out, people were kind of up in arms that Toni Collette wasn't even nominated for an Oscar. There aren't a lot of horror movies where people are upset when someone isn't nominated for an Oscar. So that should tell you something too, as far as the quality of the film. But you mentioned a really good point, Dani. I forgot about the dollhouse. The massive symbolism with the dollhouse. The whole idea is that they're being played with. They have no idea how much they're being manipulated. They're just the pawns. So yeah, that was a huge. But it's such a good movie. I love it.
I ride for horror so much because I get there is, at least personally, my whole take is there's no more bad movies and horrors there are with any other genre. There's going to be an overabundance of bad movies that come out from the studios not knowing how to be artistic and give people room to grow or whatever it may be. Sure. But when something like this comes out, and I feel like it was drastically, and like not even like regular people and horror fans alike can recognize how amazing this is, but the studio or the academy is like, I don't know about that horror shit. Let's just push that to the side. I'm like, fuck them old white men.
No, for real, that shit is rigged.
Yeah.
Side note, my last point. I don't know. At this point, I'm curious to see how many movies have gone through all 7 of the Kings of Hell at this point, because we've seen Payment from here, Bagul from Sinister, and I feel like I've seen a couple other like of the 7 Kings of Hell or whatever else. Now they're always one of the big demons that are around.
I think in Black Mask, it's meant to be evoking one of them. So,
so yeah, it was interesting. But, yeah. Moving on, so we have 3 more. The last 3. The Thing, another classic.
S. I'm going first. S. Top S. This is one of my favorites of all time.
I feel that. Same.
I'm gonna put it as 2, but more so, especially for the practical effects of anything else, the prosthetic work, the way they did some of the stuff there, some of the writing. Yeah, I'll go put that there.
Dani, wasn't this? It was actually Stan Winston's like protege that did this one though, right?
Rob Bottin.
Yeah, I think it's his direct protege. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with this movie. I love this movie. This to me is like the peak of practical effects, and like when that was its best and when it was treated like an art form instead of just like a pain in the ass. So I really appreciate it for just the practical effects, and I love the plot as well. I think being trapped in Antarctica with some shape-shifting ass creature is up there with one of the worst things that could happen. So just the aspect of being confined in this treacherous environment adds so much horror to this. I love it, and I love that it comes in the form of a fluffy dog, because that's one thing that I always trust is like a dog. So they would have got my ass real quick.
I would have died.
Immediately,
because it was a husky too. It
was so cute. Yeah.
What fucked me up about this, a little fun fact. So I have a uncle that was a research scientist in Fulton, Illinois, and I would go out there every summer to visit the great, like Illinois was fucking amazing. It's beautiful out there. But he would fuck with me because I would go with him to the lab. He had this machine in which they took the stomach of a cow and they had it operating outside of his body in this tank, and it operated and functioned for like 10 plus years. But because I saw that, my uncle fucked with me and was like, "Yeah, I created this thing called the Blob 20 years ago." And the way it operates is that it walks around and it cuts people's fingers off and it walks around in their fingers and shit. And
oh my God.
I asked him like, how's it function? And he told me,
oh my God.
My whole life, I'm for like 5 years being a child, I'm thinking of blobs there. So whenever we would I would go to the lab with him, like the lights would be off. He's like, "Oh, watch out. The blob's here. You gotta be careful." No. Or like I'd be at home and he'd check under the couch for the blob. And he showed me how, and I asked him how it worked and how it would look, and he showed me this film and said, "This is how it would look." And from then on, this shit fucked with me really heavy.
Yeah,
I'd never trusted any blob.
Oh, so that's your, because Dani. So on this show, we all have, there's a movie that fucked us all up. Essentially, for me, it's Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy. For Otis, it was Exorcist. So apparently, for Charlie, it seems like it's basically.
No, this one, the movie that fucked me up. The movie that fucked me up was the 2011 Nightmare on Elm Street.
He was also Jackie or Haley's version. Okay.
Yeah. But this,
did any of you have Freddy dreams? I've had 2 Freddy dreams before.
Yeah, I have.
I've had scary Terry dreams, but I've never had a
Rick and Morty.
Scary Terry.
I've never had a Freddy dream.
So interesting. I love that you had a scary Terry dream.
I stand version, Rick and Morty. I've watched that series start to finish so many times in the background while making other things. So I did that to myself.
That's fair.
Wait, so Dani, because you love horror, were you like happy when Freddy came to you in your nightmare? Or was it even a nightmare?
I I don't know that it was a nightmare. I didn't feel all that scared. It kind of just felt like Freddy's here, you know. I don't know that I felt scared about it. I don't remember feeling scared.
I've never had a feeling of fear towards Freddy. Like, but I was introduced to Freddy later. Like, he was already in his more comedic form, so he never had that fear element to me. And then like that 2011, I thought that movie was cold. Like that movie was dope.
He was serious. He was very.
Oh, I love Rorschach Freddy. Rorschach Freddy was amazing.
I think that
you can play.
I wasn't necessarily afraid of Freddy, but I was afraid of the idea of Freddy and that something could get you in your sleep.
Yeah, you can't escape.
So I wasn't. I was afraid of the idea of him for sure, but not necessarily afraid of him, the character.
Yeah.
My auntie fucked me up because she told me the story of him when I was 8 before I knew he was like a character in the movie. So I'm thinking it's just like a campfire story. And I found the movie later on. And I was like, man, fuck you, auntie.
Your family is cool.
We in the car, like in the dark. She's like, yeah, you know, he got trapped in there with all those psychopaths. I was like,
yeah, that's the thing too. The idea of how he got born. His mother wasn't it? His mother was like a raped
sexually assaulted. The son of a insane bastard.
Yeah.
Jesus.
By the way, I'm sitting in the dark. I'm in the dark right now by myself. Let's move on, please. God.
Getting back to the thing. The practical effects in the thing and like seeing stuff like Junji Ito stuff pretty young also kind of just really set the standard for like body horror and like prosthetic stuff for me. So I definitely always rank this one pretty high. And then it adds the element of the environment is the horror. Like again like going out in the snow. Like I just had to survive a blizzard out here a couple months ago. I'm not going back out in that. No. So like just having that element along with this little doll coming up to you and being like a whole body snatcher, like it's just take the L. Like the L is there one way or another, and it also is like I'm never gonna be like the person out there researching things. Like I'll go there, I'll be on the 4th team. Like y'all go ahead and check it out a couple times. Like gentrify it if you got to. Then I get there, and then like we can like really expand the research. Then cool.
Build up a civilization with
power
weapons, lots of weapons.
Lots of weapons. Like again, like movies like Ghost of Mars and all those movies when they go out and like explore some new place that you just shouldn't be at have just scarred me for like I'm not going to be the first one to discover anything.
I'm not going to be the first one to fuck around and find out.
I will fund the team. Like y'all go. We gonna like we can get the Zero's team, the Zero Dark 30 image, so I can see it from a safe distance far away.
Three dots.
If the footage cuts, just come back home. Like, we know is to just get out of there. Don't even worry about it. We'll send drones. And figure it out. But
I completely agree. I mean, I love this movie to pieces. As Danny knows, I love me some John Carpenter, but he also scored this movie too. The thing about this movie as well, like y'all mentioned the things to fear, is the 3 main things are obviously isolation. Number 1, isolation and the weather. Number 2 is the monster, the idea of what this creature, this thing is, even though we don't truly know what it looks like ultimately. But number 3 is the idea that for the most part, it's constantly, it keeps shape shifting to look like somebody else. So you have no idea. You can't trust your neighbor. Your best friend who's in your room literally might kill you or eat you or worse. So it's like that idea of those 3 different elements is it's compounded. It's horrific. How could you possibly survive? I mean, you see it by the end of the movie. Kurt Russell has a stick of dynamite and get ready to blow up a guy. It's like this. It's crazy, and I love how it ends. The ending is one of my favorite endings in all movies, all cinema.
Me too.
It's Kurt Russell and Keith David just sitting there, like, well, I guess we'll just sit here and find out if one of us, one of us is going to freeze to death, or one of us will kill the other one. It's like this is just such a horrible, like a fantastic horror ending, just sitting there ambiguous.
Better than the CGI monstrosity we got later on.
Let's not.
But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the second to the last one. For me, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all if I'm giving this a S. This for me, yeah, brother. The first one, yeah, for me. From
it's very
how much how
good,
like Bill Skarsgård's ability to act and how much he disturbed me. Like, have you seen him make the face without the makeup on?
Yeah,
like he disturbs me in how he acts. So whenever I see him in anything horror, I'm like excited. And what he did to me in this, and then as well as like the kids' ability to act and show fear and all the different emotions that they were able to portray, was fucking spectacular to me. Like this is one of the things where like I wasn't really afraid of the original one. I thought it was kind of cool and kind of goofy, I guess. When I seen this shit, I was like, yeah, bro, that sucked. For me, it's S. I think this shit it was unsettling from not only just the clown itself, but from like the way people would act as far as like the redheaded girl's father and like those scenes there of like showing the abuse that happened there and like scenes like that were just unsettling. So you have like real world shit that's fucking you up that makes you unsettled, while also throwing in intersections of Pennywise adding in his elements there as well. So it was like everything. It made me scared of the clown and of the people of that town of Derry too.
I mean, the whole idea, part of the fear is coming of age and feeling like an alien in your own body, which was Beverly is dealing with her, the idea of coming into womanhood, and the idea too of how with bullying is a real big. Bullying is even bigger now, of course, in cyberbullying. But the movie shows how the bullies are literally pulling switchblades and carving up somebody just for being overweight. It's just, and I think the biggest thing with this movie, because this movie broke the internet when it came out, the trailer came out, right? It was so well put together, such a well done, so well made, essentially. And you're right, Bill Skarsgård is a terrifying dude. That dude in real life, the whole idea of his eyes like crossing the other direction, he can do that in real life on his own. He doesn't need special effects for that. So it's like this guy
has
the smile too without the makeup. He's designed for it. So like, this movie, I wouldn't give it S tier because it's not horrifying in that way, but it definitely is so well made. I would go A. My favorite part of my favorite two scares are the one in the library where a person's going on the steps and they don't have a head. It's like, wow, they came out of nowhere. And the part where they're watching the movie in their garage and and all of a sudden it's like, no, turn it back on, and it's like a giant clown sitting there. It's like, if you imagine Charlie,
and Wilson, it's talking to you specifically. Like,
I'm done. It's
the library when I picked up where he's sitting there and like Buddy is like looking around like there's a fucking clown right here in the middle of this library and nobody's like acknowledging him, and he's just staring at you with a smile like, hey bud.
Nah.
Fuck no.
I'm good. And then this messed up the world too, because after this movie came out, they started having all those clowns like in people in real life in our world, people in clown outfits walking around, just standing around places.
I was still in middle school when this happened. So no, that happened like years before the movie came out, if I remember right. Because I was in like middle school at the bus stop where they had clowns walking up the bus stop and shit.
But I know there
my
was
granddad
another...
had to me front porch with a gun when we were like for a little bit when we were going to school.
Oh, well, there were actual real instances, real life, like Ed Gein and stuff was a real person that did that type of stuff too. Creepy. But I know after the movie is even more popular, people were doing that crazy stuff.
Yeah, that was an era. Damn, that happened. That's crazy. I forgot all about that shit. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, go ahead, Otis.
I do think this is a really well made movie. Everything down from the casting to the script was very believable until you got to that end, and then I'm like, oh, you a bitch for real, huh? Like it kind of ruined the fear that I had towards him. It's like, oh, you a bitch for real, like for real, huh? Oh,
let's be honest. You might have used the power of friendship. That shit is,
yeah, bro. It's like, is this a horror movie or fairy tale right now, bro? Like, but overall, no, very well made movie. Like the way that they transition from something that seemed perfectly normal to like outlandish just like immediately. Like I don't know if it was just from how they shot certain scenes to just like how they cut it in the editing, but like you just see the transition of things getting out of going from something that you can handle in reality to like, oh shit, like, and they did that consistently for different parts, and they triggered it around the traumas from the actual kid. So like putting that together, I thought was very well done. But yeah, the ending, I do not think it's a bad ending, but it just makes him not intimidating to me anymore, which brings down your points a little bit. I still give this an A. Like, I think this is a good movie.
I see.
But I can't give it an S.
Well, interesting thing too, just defies my earlier point as far as like overusage of the main monster and seeing it too much. We saw Pennywise a plethora of times throughout this film, and every time still creepy. Every time.
Yeah.
The voice really was like, nah, bro.
I ain't Georgie.
You ain't gonna talk to me like that.
Yeah, he was.
It's not no.
Well, because I know it's Danny's turn. Real quick, the thing that's made it really fun was the idea that Stephen King broke it down before, the idea that he is an alien, right? He's not of this world. So anytime he's trying to impersonate a person, when he talks, when he looks, he's trying to look or mimic a human, but he can't quite do it. The idea of an alien trying to be human is unsettling in of itself too. So.
Not just the alien; he's like a celestial being. Like he was at the beginning of the universe creation. I'm like, why the fuck are you here eating people? You here?
Yeah. Ugh. Sorry, Dani.
No, I'm right there with that. I think casting Bill Skarsgård as this character was like one of the best decisions they could have made. I feel like he already acts like an alien, kind of like he doesn't act quite human.
Yeah.
From like the other roles that I've seen him in, he's very. There's something a little bit off about him, you know. And I think they really cast him very well for that. Another thing I really enjoyed about this film was just like the energy and the exchange with, again, the kids and the main character. I think what really lent to that on screen was the fact that they didn't let them mingle off, like when they weren't filming. They didn't let them see Bill Skarsgård in full makeup.
That's right.
So it really kind of helped them be a lot more scared and to capture that scariness about it. But I think it was written well. I think it was shot well. It's definitely getting an A for me. I really enjoyed it. And it did scare me. It is a scary movie. I think I really enjoyed that. Yeah. Enjoy this one.
Good. Have y'all? I know Charlie mentioned before, but have y'all, Dani and Otis, have y'all seen the Tim Curry version from the?
I have.
Okay.
I have. I think they are both scary, but for different reasons. I know that a lot of people may find the Tim Curry version like a little bit more boring and not as scary, but I still think it's really effective and equally as terrifying, if not like a little bit more to me.
Yeah. I mean, it fucked me up. I saw when I was a kid. I saw when it first came out, like when I was in 5th grade or something at a sleepover, and it fucked me up. The idea of Tim Curry just like.
Yeah.
It fucked me up too.
Also, the voice for Tim Curry, like, it was just a little bit deeper than you're comfortable with. It was like, all right, bro, like, what's behind that? Like, all right, that's not a regular guy talking. That's a little demonic there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have mixed feelings about the Tim Curry one because, like, again, it is unsettling, but it's not scary, but his presence is scary. So it's a weird kind of mix there. I honestly, like, when it comes to horror in general, I think it's the at least for me, like, the most emotional type of movie to watch. Not like it's making me sad, but like I need to be feeling emotion to have that immersion within it. I have to feel the fear that the characters are supposed to feel. I have to feel the like dread that they are, living in. I have to be connected to that.
Yeah.
And some parts of that, like, again, like when Tim Curry is talking, I feel that. But like with the way that they kind of deal with some of the scenes, it was just like it's not that bad.
It's okay. Well,
yeah.
But part of it too is so I saw the original one when I was a kid. I was about the same exact age as the kids in the movie. So when Tim Curry, because the first movie, both of them are in 2 parts, right? The new one and the old one. They're both, the first half is they're kids. So it's too relatable. Seeing there's a part where he comes up through the he's in a shower and he comes up there and he's like talking to him, kind of talking creepy. It's like I've been there in middle school, afraid to go in the shower after gym class. I know what that's like. And so I was like, worst case scenario all around. So it's being too relatable can really get to you sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
So we get the rankings for this at. We got putting that.
We saying A. I think all of us said A.
Yeah,
maybe Danny said yes. But...
Okay. Yeah, I said A.
Okay. A.
Okay. We're putting this at an A. Last but not least, the movie that sparked a lot of annoying and funny movies thereafter, the original Scream.
What's your favorite scary movie?
It's iconic though, man.
For me, it was the writing for it and the concept and the innovation was amazing. It was so refreshing. You seen it in like the fact that it was making fun of so many other horror movies. It was like really meta in that way. Even down to like certain scenes where like I think it's like near the end of the film where Buddy is like watching a movie and he's like, you gotta run. And then Ghostface is like right behind us. Certain things like that. It wasn't as it had that small tint of comedy there, but this is really dope to me. And even the opening scene I thought was amazing when he's chasing. It was a Carmen Electra. I forgot who the super
Drew Barrymore's in the real one. Carmen Electra's in the
scary movie.
So random question while we're on Scream. Does that opening scene in Scream 2 hit different for y'all at all?
Jada? Because now it does.
Yeah, just out of curiosity.
Now it does.
Shit. Damn.
Have you not thought about that since
yeah. I'm kind of like
I'm not going to that.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go that far. We're just curious.
That's just nice.
But no, so with Scream, this was another one that I didn't necessarily find scary, but I did find it very, I don't know what the word is, because I just felt that it's so repeatable, right? Like it's such a, like anyone could do this. Like this was like the first, like, man, like
they made it a point to show you that
other horror movie can't happen, but this one, like, you just getting mad at like a specific group and then just like catching them off guard because you know their lives. Like you could do that. Like currently,
yeah,
it wouldn't last as not. It would actually last probably about the same time as the movie. So you could do that. Like it is a very like. And this is not me encouraging people to go out and try to do these things. Please don't take it as that. But like, this is a very repeatable thing. Yeah. So it did feel a little personal, and it just made me also kind of look at my friends. Was like, which one of y'all would it be? But I do think it's really iconic. I think it is the perfect amalgamation of the rules. Like it's so meta. It's a meta horror movie. Like it's almost commenting on itself as the movie plays out, and I really love conscious films like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily do anything too crazy outlandish. Like it's very believable within like this realm of reality. Like, you know, someone can get triggered to this point and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Like, especially when you are immersed in a culture of like, you know, serial killers and horror movies and knowing the rules, and when that's your life and you have a moment that's triggering enough to push you over the edge, like it is a believable thing. So
yeah,
when you give me that level of suspension of disbelief, I always have to give you a lot of credit. So this honestly, I call it bias. I'm gonna give it an S. Like I think it's great.
I think that's your first S, right?
No, I gave.
Exorcist.
I gave The Shining a S because I mean I just can't argue against that. What else? Go.
Exorcist, Shining.
Exorcist for sure is an S.
Okay, yeah, those two.
I don't agree with Hereditary being an S, but I could live with it being because it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. And then The Thing also was an S. So yeah, I'm on the S train, you know, but
yeah, right on. Dan, you can go.
Yeah, Scream is for me a classic. I love that it's just like a conversion of the slashers and like kind of again making fun of itself with the highlighting of the rules. I love the removal of that like idea that this is a movie. Like this is obviously a movie and we're talking about that it's a movie. And then, like you said, it's repeatable. They bring that later into the later movies that this is repeatable. This can be anyone under this mask. When I saw this movie, I was a little girl. This was probably like my first scary movie that my mom let me watch at home. So I was probably like maybe 6 or 7 when I saw it. And I used to think that Ghostface was just standing behind my door every night, just waiting until I closed my eyes. Jesus. But like, so like it scared me when I was younger, but as I grew up, I really grew to like appreciate the writing of it. And I like that it talks about itself throughout the entire film. I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It really had me like, I'm sorry not to cut you off. No, when I was at home alone and the house phone rang, aging myself here, whatever. Like, nah, dog.
So bad.
Mom, when you getting home?
I don't know.
I was so happy when caller ID came out so I could see who was calling.
That part, and like maybe this comes from me not like, or comes from this movie, but like I also don't like answering the door.
Yeah.
Like if there's nope, I'm good. You just go ahead and leave whatever you need to leave out there, or I should know you're coming. If not, you're probably Ghostface, and I'm not answering the door.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I guess caller ID definitely in those little when you have the doorbells that you can see the cameras or whatnot, that it kind of changed the game. I know they still tried to do that with the more recent Screams, but it definitely changed the game around. Because in the 90s when this came out, there was no real caller ID. It was people called landlines and he's answered. Whatever was there was there. So it's very believable. I have a special soft spot for this movie too because the guy Kevin Williamson who wrote this movie, he also did like I Know What You Did Last Summer and some other stuff. He wasn't homeless when he wrote this, but he was very much close to how Otis and Charlie See My Crib out in LA. It's not that impressive, but he was pretty much living in even more squalor than I was, and he was trying to get as a writer, and he wrote this. And it pretty much changed his life. So the idea of what he did was too, while he was trying to write stuff, kind of like Otis, he watched a bunch of horror movies and he noticed all these patterns over and over and over again. And this is in the 90s. He's like, he's pretty much like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna make a movie commenting on these damn patterns in these horror movies. And that became his golden ticket, more or less. And ironically enough, he made it with the guy who made a whole bunch of horror movies with Wes Craven, who knows these patterns too. So I have a really big soft spot for the film, just how the history behind how it got getting made and everything else. But yeah, it's definitely one of the GOATs. I have a big soft spot too for Neve Campbell, aka Sydney. Was it Prescott or Sydney? I can't remember last name. Yeah, in this movie because she's a badass. I mean, if Jamie Lee Curtis was the original as far as the Scream Queen, Neve Campbell's almost at the other end of the spectrum as far as she's fighting back from the start. She's outsmarting them. She takes on 2 at once and beats them both, so to speak. So I have a lot of respect for this movie. I think it's a really well put together movie. And I like the idea of it being like this is my introduction to metafiction. I didn't know how metafiction worked. And this movie makes it very understandable, very user-friendly to anybody. So yeah, I'll go. I don't know if it's. I saw it in high school. I saw it in a full-ass, sold-out crowd at the theater. And it was such a blast. It was more entertaining than scary. But it's so well put together. It's such a great classic. I go S tier as well, just for what it is. I go S tier.
Dani, would you give it? I can't remember.
I'm giving it an A.
All right, so we got 3 S's and an A. I think that's enough to put that in the S tier for me.
Yep.
Fun fact about this one too. Well, if I remember right, to Kevin Williamson's point, I think he like didn't like horror or some shit like that initially, and he wrote this as a joke. Yeah, and then bad enough, Kevin Spacey the Spacey brothers found the shit. Was it Kevin Spacey? It was the dude that House of Cards dude, Knock Knock. That's Kevin Spacey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like him and his brother like found it, and they were doing some shitty shit with like the studio and making certain shit happen because they made him like as soon as this took off, they were immediately like we did another one within like 6 months or 3 months, something like that.
Oh shit!
Would turn around.
Yeah, it's fast. It was really fast.
Yeah, it was fast. Yeah, they were shitty human beings back then too. So I'm glad that they weren't attached to it after a certain amount of time, and that with the one reason I like the new one so much is that those guys that are directing it are like such active fans of Kevin Williamson.
Yeah.
And they made sure they like consult Wes, well, not consulted Wes Craven, because I think he was dead at that point, but they did a lot to try to make sure that it was an homage to something they were fans of. And again, there's a reason why we're doing the horror content. The reason why I love horror so much is because certain things like this film can bring people together, which I think like Dewey and the reporter actor, I can't remember that character, like they were married, like they met through this.
Yeah, Courtney Cox and David Arquette.
Yeah. So yeah, it was dope. But this is the list for now. I think the way we want to try to do this is to have one every year and kind of build on this, which through the site we can like stack it up. So let us. So I'll have this posted and have the actual thing up. So people watching now, let us know what you think about how we ranked these films in different tiers, and if you would change certain things or what you hated or what you didn't hate. Let us know in the comments and on whatever socials I put this shit on, or all our socials. Before we take off, anybody have any last words? No.
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I know it's late as hell where y'all are. I'm on the West Coast, so it's a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and close out then. This has been Dani, Lelouch V, King of the Comics, and C Diesel, and we'll see y'all later. Deuces.
Bye.